Okay, let's talk through all these golf events that you have coming up.
Gabby, I'm glad you asked. Got my calendar right here. July 17th at Red Run, and then July 31st, I have the American Golf outing for the Cancer Society.
I also have the American Cancer Society golf outing on the 31st, and also I got yours on the 18th, buddy.
Yeah, I'm gonna be there.
Whoa, boys, these are a lot of events and golf outings.
Well, you want me to miss my own golf tournament?
Gabby, they're all great golf.
I mean, this is
Hold on. I got this. Guys, I got this. Don't worry about it. Hold on a second.
He always.
Hey guys, thanks for coming so fast. How are ya? Remember the guys from Randy Wise, right? Sir. The Randy Wise Celebrity Golf Tour.
Watch for the eye.
Stay tuned.
It's the Randy Wise Celebrity Golf Tour. Some of the biggest names in Michigan sports, and some, well, not so much. Brought to you in part by Premier Security Solutions, Fairway Packing Company, and Swiss Insurance. Watch episodes at woodwardsports.com.
Good morning! It's the Morning Woodward Show here on the Woodward Sports Network on this wonderful Monday morning. And joining me, as usual, alongside me, Sam Flannel. How are you doing? How was your weekend, Sam?
It was pretty low-key. You know, every morning I got to come in here and, like, flex it out a little bit. Because I'm feeling really good about being back here. Because it was a low-key weekend. I did get some rest. I do have a lot of energy this upcoming week. So I don't know if that's good news or bad news for everyone else in this room and for the audience. But it is news. I will just say that.
No, it is news. And we'll always take it, Sam. Alongside us, I'm happy he's back. Hopefully first full week back. JB, we missed you. How you doing? How was your weekend? You were busy.
I'm good. Yeah, I was busy just because I had to work a lot, but still, it was a pretty good weekend though, so I got no complaints.
No, we're happy to have you, JB. Obviously in the TD booth, Lucas Klotz, the one, the only, the man from Toledo. I know you're ready to go this morning.
Oh, I'm ready.
I never
I'm
doubt
juiced.
it. I never doubt it.
It's a Monday AM, blessed to be alive. Where else would you rather be?
No, absolutely nowhere else. And for anybody else out there watching and listening live, you could have been anywhere else, but you chose to be with the Morning Woodward Show, so we appreciate you for that. In the chat, we got Jack Harrington, Mike G, as usual, Philip C, Justin from North Carolina, Sports on Air, DMAP Zoom. Again, John Lord, we appreciate all you guys for tuning in. Again, we appreciate the support. Funky, always in the chat, per usual. But we have a great show planned for you guys today. Some Lions, some Pistons to get into the BetMGM released their Rookie of the Year odds for NBA rookies. We're going to get into that later in the show. George Kittle had some interesting words about Lions rookie tight end Sam Laporta. Can't wait to break all that down and much more. But before we get into any of that, did you guys catch, by chance, the Victor Wembanyama shooting in a Spurs uniform over the weekend?
Oh, yeah.
Did you guys catch that? Because I know people for Victor being, you know, the greatest prospect since LeBron, the greatest prospect arguably ever, and we kind of knew this was going to happen. They're going to follow Victor everywhere he goes with a cell phone. And if he's missing shots, then of course they're going to get it on video. Lucas, do you have it loaded up?
None.
Because I want to show everybody this. And when this first came out on the internet, everyone was freaking out. Victor Wembanyama, he missed like 4 shots in a row.
Oh, yeah.
He's trash now. He's a bust. And this is the funny part about being a guy like Victor with that much hype behind him. The guy can't even go shoot around on the Spurs court without being judged by every miss he has, Sam Flannel.
Absolutely. I guarantee that even if you look at some of the best shooters who have ever played, when they're just shooting the ball around, when they're playing pickup, even guys like Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, the likes of Larry Bird, Ray Allen, they've missed 4 in a row when it comes to just shooting around. I'm not saying that Victor Wembanyama is the level of shooter that they are or that he ever will be, but it is a nothing burger of a story. And I'll tell you what, being 7'5" and all, he's going to get so many easy looks just by being that tall if he can get to the paint on a regular basis. So hopefully he's not going to need to shoot that many jump shots in his career anyway. And Lucas has the video now.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, see.
Is that a 3?
Well, this is just the man shooting around. And you can tell there's like an audience for the shoot around as well. And we got the audio going. Oh, gosh.
What did he go, like 0 for 9?
See, that's what he's going to be able to do in games. As long as he can do that.
Look at. Okay, yeah, Victor. Oh, here we go. Oh, okay.
It was online, just short.
Yeah, here we go. Size up, step back. Okay.
Right there.
Yeah, Victor, you should have just stopped when you missed the first three. Oh, here we go. 3-point attempt. Look at that form.
No.
Yep, here we go. Okay, another brick. All right, that's fine. I've seen enough.
You know,
and this is the problem too. Again, if the Pistons selected Victor, you bet your ass I'd be excited. So I'm not even going to sit here and call the guy a bust. But the fact that he goes into a warm-up just to shoot around in a Spurs uniform, I mean, he just made it to the NBA, accomplished his dreams. He just wants to go shoot around, and he really builds a house full of bricks.
You know what this video tells me? This video alone and nothing else is that the San Antonio Spurs will forever rue the day that they didn't pick Scoot Henderson instead of Victor Wembanyama. Just off of this video, because that is the overreactive society that we live in right now. And like I said, I get that there's some concerns about his shot and his offensive inefficiency or lack thereof, especially when it comes to three in the French league, but still, this video is nobody should really look into it anything. Like I said, he's 7'5". Remember that alley-oop that he finished? I get it against no defense. That's what he's going to be able to do at a level that I don't know if anyone else in the league will, because he's just so tall. I mean, he almost can touch the rim just reaching. It's ridiculous. Victor Wembanyama will be fine. If anybody actually uses this as a serious reason as to why, oh my God, Victor Wembanyama is going to be a bust. Stop it. Get some help.
Yeah, stop it. Get some help. MJ said it best. Funky says, the Woodward Sports chat thread, no, they don't. I have seen Bird and others when they were just shooting around and they miss. Even Dennis Rodman hits damn near every shot in a shoot around. I mean, yeah, that's true. You look at the polar opposite. Even guys that can't shoot make everything in warm-up. So again, I who cares? I just thought it was hilarious that they had a whole they had a whole shoot-around session with people viewing in and tuning in just to see Victor miss.
And then he gave him that performance, which to be fair, it didn't look good, even a little bit his form. I mean, it wasn't
the form's a little it's a little funky.
It's a little funky, but that can be fixed. And like I said, Victor Wembanyama, even if his jump shot is a little bit, I don't want to say broken, but not at its developed form in his rookie season, I think he will still be fine. You can't pass up Victor Wembanyama when you have a chance to draft him.
No, you can't, and you can't pass up Cade Cunningham. Apparently, this offseason, though, you can pass him up because these photos that got released that were fake over the weekend, I've never seen a fan base troll their franchise player and be so proud of it. I don't, and it was kind of funny at the same time. Lucas, do you have the pictures? So there's a side-by-side comparison that I brought up, and I want to show you guys this because I saw this over the weekend when I first saw the photo. Now with AI, it is insane what AI can do, especially in Photoshop. You can make guys look out of shape, look fat, have a beard, have long hair, and it actually looks like them. So I guess in today's society, I can't even trust my own eyeballs, which that's all I had left. Look at this photo. From left to right. Look at the left, okay, and look how realistic this looks. And then look at the right. That's the actual photo of Cade Cunningham. Obviously, clearly he's in shape. Got a little bigger, got a little stronger, but the guy on the left looks like he's homeless. I don't know what happened. And people were doing this with all their franchise players. I saw Jalen Green, fat, with a beard, out of shape. I mean, I don't know what this is, the AI Photoshop era, but that is absolutely that's despicable. That is. And but it was hilarious at the same time.
It absolutely was hilarious. And I don't know if I probably need to get off Twitter from time to time anyway because it'll drive you crazy, but didn't it seem to you, Jeff, that there were actually people who thought that was the real Cade Cunningham? Even our very own Pistons fans who were just like, uh-oh, Cade Cunningham.
Yeah, cause for concern.
Cause for concern. He might have let himself go a bit in the offseason. Maybe Cade Cunningham is going to actually be a bust after all. And that's the type of stuff that was... It's such nonsense, but it also shows the damage that can be done with just a little bit of AI, a little bit of Photoshop. It really did look realistic. If Cade Cunningham did let himself go and didn't shave and didn't cut his hair, that is what he would look like. Exactly.
Well, yeah, the person on the left, and that wasn't the only photo, by the way. There was a couple photos that were floating around. And Lucas, you saw him too, right? When you first saw him, did you believe it?
I thought they were 100% real when I first saw them. I was like, oh my God, what happened? But then I had to relax for a second and realize that Cade ain't like that.
No,
he ain't like that.
No, he's not. It's funny too. I mean, I was talking to Ash, and this is the lottery, the NBA Draft lottery, talking to him and Cannon. And one thing they kept repeating is how ready Cade is, how much he's been in the gym, working out physically, mentally, getting his shot right. And then I see these photos, and I'm like, what? I'm like, and then I had to do research, of course, because you don't believe anything you could see on social media nowadays. Not only can you not trust your own eyeballs, but you have to do extra research on anything you see on the internet. And when I saw that, I didn't believe it because I'm like, let me get confirmation this is real.
Yeah.
And then obviously it wasn't. But I'm like, no way in hell he lost himself in a month.
Well,
like there's no way.
Well, that's the thing. If you talk to people who were close to him and work with him on a daily basis, and they all were like, he's in great shape, he's ready to go. Do you think that they're all really lying and covering up that Cade Cunningham actually let himself go? No chance. But if it fooled Lucas and it even fooled me for a split second, it can fool anybody.
No, it's messed up, man.
Yes.
Pistons fans, that's messed up. That's messed up. I mean, that's your franchise player, and I get the jokes and everything, but you couldn't even done anybody else.
Anybody else? Should have been Killian.
You could have done anybody else. You did the guy that probably has the best work ethic. Like you made him out of shape.
Yeah.
Like you could have grabbed anybody else on the Pistons, but of course it's funny when it's your franchise player.
It is funny.
Ashton's in the chat as well. Shout out to Ashton, by the way. Always showing love to the Morning Woodward Show. I know he saw those pictures and was like, "What the hell? What? I just saw him yesterday. What happened?" So I thought that was hilarious. It was floating around Pistons Twitter. I'll tell you what. We'll go to break when we get back. I want to show these BetMGM odds for Rookie of the Year. We'll see where Asar Thompson ranks, and Chet Holmgren now is qualified. He might pull the Ben Simmons.
Hey, he could.
He might pull the Ben Simmons, where he sits a year and wins Rookie of the Year. You never know. We'll check out these odds when we come back. But before we do, Sam Flannel, can you tell us about Randy Wise?
Absolutely, I can. How would you like to see famous athletes like my coach, Jim Harbaugh, our very own Darren McCarty, and the greatest wide receiver in Michigan football history, Braylon Edwards, play golf with average Joes like myself? Thanks to Randy Wise Automotive and Woodward Sports, you will be able to do just that. It's the Randy Wise Celebrity Golf Tour. Make the wise choice and pay attention to Woodward Sports for more information soon.
The Sports Marketing Agency would not be who we are without great community partners like Higuera Health and Carol Zaniga.
It's an awesome opportunity to partner with your organization. Higuera Health is a comprehensive behavioral health organization. We serve children through older adults with mental health, substance use, and developmental disabilities across Western Wayne counties, and really excited to now be in downriver communities as well. Give us a call at 734-458-4601.
Introducing the Planet Fitness Guide to getting that post-workout glow. Step 1, what's your why? More epic energy? Better sleep? Blow off steam? Step 2, join Planet Fitness for just $10 a month and get moving in our clean and spacious clubs. Step 3, bask in that post-workout glow. Join Planet Fitness today for just $10 a month.
Join today at any of the 50-plus Detroit area locations.
By now you know me, Christina Gennari, as the obvious choice in real estate. And you know my website, soldchristina.com, as your #1 resource for buying or selling your home. Myself, along with my amazing staff, pride ourselves on making your home buying and selling experience a relaxing and easy one. Come see why we are the obvious choice. Christina Gennari at soldchristina.com, the obvious choice in real estate.
At work and at home, we're there with smarter security solutions. Featuring complete automation with customized alerts and more. For over 90 years, we've been the company that's been counted on to protect what matters most, all with personalized service and care. Right now, for a limited time, receive a free video device plus free installation with a new home system. Guardian Alarm. We protect Michigan.
Big Boy Strawberry Fest has officially arrived, and we're here to show you the very best flavors of the season. Satisfy your sweet tooth with our deep-fried vanilla Oreos, strawberry hot fudge cake, and a slice of our classic strawberry pie. But that's not all. Cool off on a refreshing summer splash salad, or savor the flavors of our chicken Caesar wrap and strawberry bacon chicken wrap. And for breakfast lovers, don't miss out on our strawberry hotcakes or our mouth-watering red velvet waffle. Strawberry Fest is something for everyone. Celebrate the sweet season with us at Big Boy.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids, all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
Since the dawn of moving people, Chevrolet has led the way. The world of transportation is changing. At Feldman Chevrolet, we are leading the charge forward. With every electric vehicle, every mile traveled, one Feldman at a time. The company that puts more Chevys on Michigan roads is now the #1 name for Chevy electric vehicles.
How would you like to win not one, but 2 vehicles of your choice? One for you and one for your wife, your girlfriend, or your best bud. Get to Lady Jane's today for an award-winning haircut and automatically enter for your chance to win. Courtesy of Les Stanford Buick GMC of Ferndale. Lady Jane's, open 7 days a week, walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
Introducing the Planet Fitness Guide to getting that post-workout glow. Step 1. What's your why? More epic energy? Better sleep? Blow off steam? Step 2. Join Planet Fitness for just $10 a month and get moving in our clean and spacious clubs. Step 3. Bask in that post-workout glow. Join Planet Fitness today for just $10 a month.
Join today at any of the 50-plus Detroit area locations.
By now you know me, Christina Gennari, as the obvious choice in real estate. And you know my website, soldchristina.com, as your #1 resource for buying or selling your home. Myself, along with my amazing staff, pride ourselves on making your home buying and selling experience a relaxing and easy one. Come see why we are the obvious choice. Christina Gennari at soldchristina.com, the obvious choice in real estate.
Welcome back to the Morning Woodward Show here on the Woodward Sports Network. I'm Jeff Iafrate. Alongside me, Sam Flannel, as always. We got JB, we got Lucas Klotz, and joining us, we have a very, very special guest. It is my honor to welcome in the Hall of Famer, the all-time winningest head coach in Michigan State basketball history and Big Ten Conference history, Tom Izzo. Welcome to the show, Tom. Thank you for taking the time.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, no problem. We understand you're participating in the Pro-Am on Wednesday and the tournament that starts on Thursday as well. Other participants include Barry Sanders, Calvin Johnson, Dylan Larkin, Chris Webber, and WWE superstar The Miz. And shout out to Rocket Mortgage Classic for putting it on. But can you just talk to us a little bit about the event itself and what you're partaking in exactly?
Well, I'm also planning the 313 tomorrow, which is kind of a fun event that benefits a lot of people, a lot of families in Detroit. And I just think the bottom line is anytime we have good events in Detroit, I've said it since I got here, I'll say it till the day I leave here, and then I'll say it some more when I'm done. When the biggest city in your state is doing well, the rest of the state's doing well. And we all know that there was a time Detroit was booming, and then there was a time when we've really gone through tough times, and getting it back and getting people there and selling the great things we have and then raising money for certain things. Those are all positive as we try to kind of reinvent our city, which means reinventing our state.
Absolutely. Coach Izzo, to reflect on last season's loss in the NCAA tournament in a great game to Kansas State, what are some things the team is focusing on this offseason to take that next step, both individually and as a team?
Well, one is to try to score one more point. One more point would have got us to the Elite Eight, which I think we could have got to a Final Four. But on a serious note, now it's blending a little more depth. We had no depth last year. A little more depth, blending some talented freshmen with some talented juniors and seniors. Making sure certain guys take a step. I think Tyson Walker had. Jaden Akins, I think, will be very, very important, taking a big step. And then we've got to get Malik Hall healthy. He had surgery in the spring, and it looks like he's really coming around and starting to shoot the ball now. And within the next couple of weeks, they'll start working out again. And that was he was out almost all last year, in and out. And Jaden missing the first 12 weeks didn't help either. So he wasn't full go to the middle of January. So I think those two things, staying injury-free, which is always, hard to do, but maybe working a little harder. There's not only in the weight room, but in flexibility and doing some hot yoga and all the things that are fun.
And Coach, as well, last week the Detroit Pistons, Troy Weaver, they picked 5th overall. They took Asar Thompson, a pick actually after his brother Amin. Are you familiar with the Twins? And if so, what are your thoughts on the Pistons taking Asar 5th overall?
Well, I'm familiar with them. As they were moving on through high school, everybody was familiar with them. Having not seen them a lot, they seem like great kids, both of them, and I'm happy the Pistons, I think the Pistons are putting together some good young talent, and strengthening up their guards, and those guards are going to be very important because you got to win with them, and so now I think they have a very good base. In the last 2 years, they've really, and I like the Sasser kid too from Houston. So I think they've had a good draft, and I think they're going to be an exciting team, and I'm looking forward to them because there's another group that when the Lions and the Pistons are doing well, I think we're all doing better.
And when you see the top 5 picks, too, with Scoot Henderson from the G League and obviously Asar and Amin from Overtime Elite, what are your thoughts now on just the variety of where players are coming from? And even last year, top 5, a lot of those guys were from the NCAA. But now with so much variety, what does it mean for college basketball, you think?
Well, I think college basketball is getting a little bit of a bad look on that in this standpoint. Guys, every year there's 5 to 8 guys that if they went to Northern Michigan or if they went to, a convent, they're going to be top picks. I mean, they're coming out, if the rule was they could come right out of high school, there's 5 to 7 picks that would have. So when people say they're getting better at Overtime Elite or better at this and that, I don't believe that at all. I really don't. I think, there's different places to go, but if you get to the point and you had a son or daughter and, you're still missing being in college. I don't care if it's 1 year, 2 years, or 3 years. Starting your education and having a chance to come back, just being in a college campus. I feel bad for the kids. That's me. I mean, everybody say, they make a little money to do all that. In the big picture, those are nothing. College helps prepare you. So I'm not sticking up for college. I could care less if they go there. But I don't listen to the theory that because they went there, they got better. Nothing gets better than the competition in college on a daily basis and what we can do. If you ask me, that's my opinion, only my opinion, but I think it's an educated opinion.
Absolutely, and very few people know more about college basketball than you, Coach Izzo, and I have to ask this because the chat was probably expecting this from me. I am as big of a Michigan basketball fan as you will find at this network, and if I'm being honest, some of my most exciting moments as a fan have come at your team's expense, but obviously I respect the hell out of the program you've built. You're the best Big Ten basketball coach of my lifetime. And you had some battles with Michigan, your team, especially under the later years under John Beilein. Tell me about some of those and if you got a little extra juice coaching against Michigan.
Well, rivalries are rivalries, and John and I used to laugh about that. I think what the big key is do you respect your opponent? I respected Juwan Howard. I recruited Juwan. But, of course, I did almost have a special relationship with John. We went through wars. He built Michigan like I built it here. We went, I don't know, I want to say 10 years against each other and maybe longer, in fact. And, we were getting to the point where they were getting the Final Fours, we were getting the Final Fours. Rivalries aren't rivalries until both teams are really good. And then they're rivalries. But it'll always be a rivalry, and yet Hatfield and McCoy's, as I call it, is a fight, but if there's respect, then it's a good rivalry. And I think that there is respect, and that's all that matters to me right now. Is you get a lot of rivalries. In other words, Wisconsin became a big rivalry because us and them were playing for championship. Then Illinois, and John got there and it was Michigan. Thank God we're always in that rivalry statement. But the Michigan-Michigan State rivalry, and they're in the same state, it should be a big rivalry. it should be something like you guys sit there and you're a Michigan guy and somebody else there's a Michigan State guy. And, I mean, you get to rip on each other for a week at a game, and then sometimes, like in football, you get to rip on each other for a whole year. And that's the fun of rivalries. They're more fun for you guys than they are us.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Tom Izzo, Michigan State head coach, the Hall of Famer. Thanks for taking the time, Coach. I got one more for you. Again, for you who have accomplished everything, how do you keep that competitive fire onto you to keep that motivation to keep going?
Well, I haven't accomplished everything. Got a lot of things to accomplish yet. I think that's what keeps me going. But every time you think, because you won a national championship, then you look at Mike Krzyzewski's got 5 and John Wooden's got 10, and you realize you haven't accomplished nothing like that. So, that's what keeps me motivated. Is there's always somebody out there that has done more. And but my objective here is, yes, to win more championships. But my real objective here at Michigan State is to leave the place better than I found it, to build it strong enough where the basement is really strong, and then the first floor is strong, and now as we move up the building, the more layers we can put on, then the less destructible it'll be. Because college sports is in a little trouble right now, I think, where we're at, and it's going to be interesting to see how the next couple of years go, and we're going to have to be very solid to stay with what you guys love, what I love, and what I think our fans love. And yet we got some people making decisions that are in a vacuum, if you ask me. And so that's my candid opinion. How's that?
No, it's perfect. Thank you. Again, thank you for taking the time, Coach. We appreciate your insight. We appreciate your time, number one. And again, thank you, and good luck on this next upcoming season.
Well, do me a favor, guys. If I took the time to be on your show, go do a little dance outside so that makes sure the weather's good for the next 4 or 5 days, because the city of Detroit needs it for the golf outing.
I got you, Coach. No problem. I will do. I got you. Appreciate it. All right, guys. Can you tell us more about our friends over at Dispo, Sam?
Absolutely, I can. Let me just pull this up really quick, because all 4 shows are going to be there this weekend, Friday, at the location in Romeo, Michigan. Let me just... All right, join us for the Dispo family live at the Romeo location in June 30th for all 4 of our shows from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. Brace yourself for an unforgettable journey at the pinnacle of cannabis excellence. Located at 100 Schaefer Drive, Romeo, Michigan. See you there this Friday, June 30th for our all-day live event at Dispo Dispensary, your local cannabis plug.
At work and at home, we're there with smarter security solutions. Featuring complete automation with customized alerts and more. For over 90 years, we've been the company that's been counted on to protect what matters most, all with personalized service and care. Right now, for a limited time, receive a free video device plus free installation with a new home system. Guardian Alarm. We protect Michigan.
Detroit sports teams live on Woodward. All of Detroit's sports coverage lives on Woodward Sports. Driving the best in Detroit sports coverage. Woodward Avenue, the first paved road in America. Woodward Sports, the first sports network born in Detroit and made for Detroit.
Welcome back to the Morning Woodward Show here on the Woodward Sports Network. We're off and cruising this wonderful Monday morning. We just got done wrapping up talking to Tom Izzo, the Hall of Famer. Man, appreciate him taking the time. And again, for all you guys that were sticking with us throughout it, don't forget to hit the like button on the live stream and subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already. But if you can't or you didn't, it's okay. You can go back, re-listen to the interview and the entire show on any podcast platform you listen to, whether it's Spotify or Apple. It doesn't matter. Leave a 5-star review for Sam and his white flannel today. I haven't seen that color in quite some time, but he's mixing it up. Leave a 5-star review. And if you're on the website, woodwardsports.com, go check out our latest news, articles, merchandise, and so much more. But Sam Flannel, BetMGM came out with the Rookie of the Year odds. And for the NBA, the rookies this upcoming season, obviously Chet Holmgren will be a part of that as well. Could you throw that graphic up if you have it by chance, Alex? This is per Pistons Talk. Anthony Colombo, he made this graphic. It was on Twitter, and it pretty much just goes through all the odds for the upcoming rookies. And there you have it, 2024 Rookie of the Year odds. Number one, obviously, Victor Wembanyama. That's pretty obvious. Minus 200. Scoot Henderson, plus 350. Chet, plus 500. Brandon Miller, plus 900. And then you get to Amin, Cam, Ausar. I think it's funny that Cam Whitmore is here at plus 2,000 above Ausar, and he was in the 20s.
Oh, yeah.
It really shows kind of where people feel or how they feel about Cam Whitmore. You see Jarris Walker, Anthony Black, Taylor Hendricks, my guy at 10. When you first look at this list, Sam, does anybody stick out for any? I guess what's the best value here for all these rookies?
Okay, so first off, I think Victor Wembanyama being minus 200 being number one, I agree with that 100% because Victor Wembanyama, he was drafted to be the franchise. It wouldn't shock me at all if at the end of the season we're looking at him as being the best player on the team. That includes a couple of talented players like Keldon Johnson and Devin Vassell, but what Victor Wembanyama at his ceiling is a 7'5" player with guard skills. He can get anywhere he wants on the court. He's an elite rim protector. He can get his own shot. He can make plays for others. He is something we have never seen before. He is a unicorn. But when it comes to value, there is one that is leaping off the page to me, and that is Brandon Miller at plus 950. And the reason for that is because I think he is as good of a fit as possible playing next to a guy like LaMelo Ball. I know a lot of people begrudge the Charlotte Hornets for passing on Scoot Henderson, and I probably still would have made that pick if I were the Charlotte Hornets.
Yeah, I'm one of those guys.
But at the same time, Brandon Miller is a damn good fit, and before he had that horrific tournament, which he did, by the way, that did happen, Brandon Miller was pretty much, and before that incident, he was pretty much universally looked at as a phenomenal prospect, and he was the best player in college basketball last season. I think LaMelo Ball, he is developing into even better of a playmaker than he was at the beginning of his career. He averaged 8.4 assists last season, which is a career high. And if you're looking at Brandon Miller, he's a guy who last season shot 38% from three at Alabama, can play off ball, and LaMelo Ball is going to get him some good looks. And I think as far as wing scorers that LaMelo Ball has played with, Brandon Miller has the highest upside over any of them, especially considering Kelly Oubre is a free agent. I think Brandon Miller will get the usage. I think his shot will translate to the NBA game. And also Brandon Miller, he can create his own shot as well. He can shoot off the dribble. He's just a very refined, to me, offensive player. And I think that his ceiling is something along the lines of a Paul George, which is funny because he called Paul George his GOAT of all time.
Apparently that's his GOAT.
Apparently that's his GOAT, which is egregious on levels that I don't even want to get into right now. But to me, Victor Wembanyama at number one is a good value because he just has... I just think he could reach that ceiling and he's going to get high usage. And Brandon Miller at plus 950, just because I think LaMelo Ball is going to get him open looks. It wouldn't. And Brandon Miller, he's coming into a team where they're going to need him to start right away. It's a usage thing a lot of times with NBA Rookie of the Year. And Brandon Miller, it wouldn't shock me at all if he averages 17, 18 a game on pretty good splits, like 45, 39, 80. And if he does that and the Hornets look good, I think he could get it.
So this is what I learned about Rookie of the Year in the NBA as of the last 2 to 3 years. 3 years, technically. None of this matters. None of these individual players, none of their talents matter. You know what matters? How many games they're going to win. That's what matters. Because the Rookie of the Year race in the NBA has become the MVP race. It's the same thing, essentially. It's not only the best rookie, but if you're the best rookie but you're on the worst team, you're excluded. We're looking for the best rookie on the best team. It doesn't make any sense. So if you look at this list, this is what it's taught me. So I see Ausar Thompson at plus 2,200. The fact that he's behind Cam Whitmore in Houston, and Cam now is entering with Amin Thompson, Jalen Green, Sengun, like Jabari Smith. Like there's a plethora of young talent there that, again, if you're going to argue Cam Whitmore, he's not even going to start this year, you could argue. That's my problem. And Ausar Thompson, obviously at 7, I get it, because if Cade didn't win it and Ivy didn't win it, wasn't higher on the list, because Paolo should have won it last year. But regardless, Ivy was disrespected. Then what makes me think Ausar will be respected? I mean, I don't see it. So The best one, I guess the best odds I'm looking at here, it sounds like Chet Holmgren at plus 500. I know the Thunder are going to improve this year. I know they're going to win more games. And if Chet Holmgren is as good offensively as he is defensively, which we know he can be, then I think plus 500 for Chet Holmgren is a steal. Like Brandon Miller, although Brandon might be solid, are you kidding me? If they win, 30 games? He ain't winning. If you haven't found out already, Sam, the Rookie of the Year race, now wins matter. It does. You could argue wins are the most important statistic about a rookie. And I didn't know that till 3 years ago.
Well,
but this is new information.
But here's the thing, and here's where I really alienated a lot of Pistons fans. I don't think that it was that egregious when Cade Cunningham lost it to Scotty Barnes and was lower in the voting than Evan Mobley, because as much as we love Cade Cunningham, as great in a lot of ways as his rookie season was, he was very, very inefficient. And guys like Scotty Barnes and Evan Mobley were not. And those teams made the playoffs. So I don't think wins matter as much as you think. And I also think that Cade Cunningham's rookie season wasn't as transcendent as a lot of Pistons fans are claiming it to be, although it was very good, and I think he is going to be the franchise moving forward. So my problem with the whole Chet Holmgren thing, because I love his skill set. I wanted him to... I thought he should have been the number 1 overall draft pick in the previous year's draft. Obviously, it looks like the Magic got it right with Paolo Banchero. My thing with Chet Holmgren is the Oklahoma City Thunder right now have become Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's team. Josh Giddey is there. Jalen Williams is there. With Chet Holmgren, I just don't think they're going to need him to be a star right away, although I do think he has that potential. And you say wins matter a lot when it comes to Rookie of the Year. I think usage is more important, and I just don't think Chet Holmgren will get the usage.
Well, here's my problem. If usage was important, then Cade should have won it, because Evan Mobley wasn't his team he was a part of. That was Darius Garland. That was everybody else. And then you look at Scotty Barnes in Toronto. That wasn't his team. Siakam, like the team they had around him. Paolo Banchero is different. If you average over 20 points, I think the Rookie of the Year award should just be sent to your house halfway through the season. Because I didn't see anybody catch up to Paolo. But the year with Scotty and Evan, they didn't lead the all rookies in usage rate, but they still won Rookie of the Year. So part of that, that's why I believe wins do matter. Even you look at last year, the ranking of where they had last year's rookies, I think Walker Kessler was above Jaden Ivey. And again, solid, but averaging 8 and 8 shouldn't put you above Ivy. Even if you are averaging 2.5 blocks, which defensively he was solid. Ivy's putting up 16, 4, and 4. On damn near, 35% from 3? 34. Like, I don't understand why that doesn't earn a top 3 consideration. That's why I say winning matters, because Cade had a better usage rate, had more on his shoulders, and was the number 1 focus night in and night out for opposing defenses, and he didn't even make the top 3. And he produced, not as efficient as you like, but he did in March what only one person ever did. That was Michael Jordan.
Oh, trust me.
Michael Jeffrey Jordan. If you didn't know his middle name.
Oh, if you didn't know his middle name. And I'm going to counter that with LeBron, Raymond, James. I know middle names too, Jeff Iafrate. But anywho, no, we're going to get more into Cade Cunningham's March that season in a later topic, because it was amazing. And I think those are the type of numbers he can put up in a full season moving forward. The funny thing is, I've never heard either of us mention Scoot Henderson when we're talking about Rookie of the Year odds. And to me, we're talking about right now when it comes to Rookie of the Year odds. Not in a couple weeks, not when they figure out what they're going to do with Damian Lillard right now. If Damian Lillard ends up getting moved and the Blazers get something back for him, and the Blazers move forward with the core of guys like Scoot Henderson, Anthony Simons, Shaedon Sharpe, and the likes of those, I think that Scoot Henderson might be a guy who can be a candidate for Rookie of the Year, because if that's the lineup moving forward, I think he's going to be the starting point guard. He's going to have the ball in his hands a lot going forward, and he will get the usage. Although, I'll tell you what, to your point, if the Portland Trail Blazers get rid of Damian Lillard, how many wins do you think they're going to get this year? Probably be one of the worst teams in the league. But Scoot Henderson, if he is that starting point guard, wouldn't you agree, will put up numbers?
Oh, yeah, he will. He'll have the opportunity. And that's what my biggest frustration was for Cade, is even with little to no help, being thrown in one of the worst situations in the NBA, and to do what he did his rookie year, it's absolutely unbelievable. But for this list, though, Asar, I think it's safe to say Asar, I think in the situation he's in currently, well, I think he'll start more likely than not. He should, and we'll see how it progresses. I don't think he'll have the usage and at least the opportunity. Maybe the Pistons win 30-ish games, but Asar would have to come out and absolutely shock everybody, which he could, But I think with Cade, Ivy, and company, and with free agents, which we're going to get to next segment, I don't think that's going to happen. Would you agree? Likelihood of him winning Rookie of the Year for Ausar? Or being in top 3 at least?
I think it's slim to none. And it has nothing to do with Ausar Thompson as a player. I mean, maybe a little bit. But I would say that he's not as good of a prospect as Cade Cunningham was, obviously. He's not even as good of a prospect as Jaden Ivey was last year. And not only that, Cade Cunningham and Jaden Ivey were coming into a team that needed them, that needed their production, that needed them to start. And with Ausar Thompson, who knows if his three-point shot is going to come along early on into his career. I feel like what he's going to be used more for is his perimeter defense and his occasional off-ball scoring. It wouldn't shock me if Ausar Thompson averages something in the low teens of points per game, and whether he's efficient or not, we will see. And that's not enough to win Rookie of the Year. He's not needed as much to be a starter and to be a star as Cade Cunningham and Jaden Ivey were when they were picked. He's just not going to put up the numbers.
Now another just little nugget here. I'm not Neil Rule. This isn't a get right pick, but Anthony Black at plus 3,000. Like Taylor Hendricks at plus 3,500. I think Anthony Black, because he's going to have the ball in his hands, but plus 3,000 is great odds, by the way. Just want to throw that out there. For a guy in Washington, I mean, you're going to want to give him the basketball. So I think he'll thrive there. Something to consider. But again, we'll go to break here. When we get back, I want to go through some free agents. Again, we got George Kittle's comments after the next segment, which we're going to get to. He thinks Sam Laporta will be the best tight end in the NFL, or in the league, out of the draft. But still, I tend to agree with him. And we'll get to that later in the show, as well as Louis Riddick. And Louis Riddick has been the biggest advocator for the Detroit Lions. I love myself some Louis Riddick, man. He's super intelligent. He's had something to say the last couple of days about the Lions and what he'll think they'll do this year. And we'll get to all that and more. But before we do, I got to tell you, or you got to tell us about our friends over at Lady Jane's.
Lady Jane's, of course, which I'm looking at it right now from my desk. And Lady Jane's, they always do a great job on anyone's hair. All of their stylists are just phenomenal. I don't discriminate. I go to anyone. And of course, they always have me looking this good. And when I'm in a room with Jeff Iafrate, Matt Broder, Jeremy Bryan, Alex Westfall, and Lucas Klotz, I got to always look my best next to these handsome gentlemen. And they always make me look that way. And how would you like to win? Not one, but 2 vehicles of your choice. One for you and one for your wife, your girlfriend, and your best bud. Get to Lady Jane's today for an award-winning haircut and automatically enter for your chance to win, courtesy of Les Stanford Buick GMC of Ferndale. Lady Jane's open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
Since the dawn of moving people, Chevrolet has led the way. The world of transportation is changing. At Feldman Chevrolet, we are leading the charge forward. With every electric vehicle, every mile traveled, one Feldman at a time. The company that puts more Chevys on Michigan roads is now the #1 name for Chevy electric vehicles.
Woodward Avenue, the first paved road in America. Woodward Sports, the first sports network born in Detroit and made for Detroit.
Welcome back into the Morning Woodward Show here on Woodward Sports Network. Come on, get close, get close. We've still got plenty of show left. Over an hour left of the show here on Monday morning. We appreciate all of you for taking the time to tune in. Like the stream, subscribe to the stream as well. And if you're watching on woodwardsports.com, don't forget to check out our wonderful articles from all our talented writers, and as well as multiple other things like merchandise, which JB is always representing. But we got to get to this free agency list. Now I want to play a game with everybody. And this is for everyone. We're going to go Sam, JB, we'll go Broder, we'll go Lucas. And I'm going to throw out some names, and I'm going to throw out a price tag. And you guys tell me, you're going to play Troy Weaver. You're going to put on the Troy Weaver hat and tell me if you're going to take it or you're going to leave it. And I'm going to give you some free agents. Now, I'm not saying you sign all of these guys, but individually, if you're Troy Weaver, are you pulling the trigger on these players, okay? So we'll start with the first one. And he's going to be a free agent this season. He declined his player option. He's from Flint, Michigan.
Ooh.
Kyle Kuzma.
Oh, my God.
Kyle Kuzma. He could play the 3 or the 4. Decent shooter, streaky shooter, decent defender. I think if you sign Kuzma, you just need a bucket getter. But again, I don't know if you're willing to pay the price tag. Now, well, here, let me tell you the price tag, okay? Would you pay Kyle Kuzma $30 million. Sam Flannel.
Absolutely not. If I am Troy Weaver, I do not take it. I leave it, and I leave it far off in the rearview mirror. And both things can be true. Kyle Kuzma did have a career season, at least when it comes to counting stats, during his time with the Washington Wizards. That's all well and good, and he is a very, very talented player who can get buckets. The problem is, and you're going to see the rest of the list later, Kyle Kuzma is more of a shot jacker than I think the Pistons need right now. His shooting splits were rather mid, 45, 33, and 73, which is, I would say,
shoot it!
It leaves a little bit to be desired, especially when you look at the rest of the list later. I mean, I guess he fits a bit of a need if he were a better shooter, but no, Kyle Kuzma, especially at $30 million a year, hell no. Leave it.
JB, what do you think? Take it or leave it. Kyle Kuzma at $30 million.
Can I counter with 12?
That's why I love JB. JB's the man.
If I can counter with 12, okay, then we got something working right there. But other than that, no, I'm not paying Kuzma $30 million. I'm sorry. He is not worth it at all. As Sam said, the dude is just jacking up shots in this brick after brick after brick. You want someone to contribute to this team. He is not going to do that. So this is a pass for me unless he's willing to take 12.
I could see JB just be like, no, that sounds great, but how about 12? 30 sounds amazing, but what about 12? Can we talk to 12? Matt Broder, I'll ask you, $30 million for Kyle Kuzma. You signing that? You trying to get Kyle Kuzma at $30 million?
No, I'm with JB. I love Kyle Kuzma's game, but 30 mil is just way too much.
Yeah, it's. What about you, Lucas?
Not a fucking chance, dude. You're not going to Brad Holmes this dude either. Like, you're not going to look at him and be like, yeah, Kyle, I understand you played in LA and you now think you're the shit. We're gonna ask you to take an $18 million pay cut. No, and he's not worth it either. He's probably not even worth fucking 12. I'd give that dude like 7. That's what I'm giving him.
No, well, 7, 12, clearly $30 million is not correct, and your guys are way off. Paul Thomas, thank you for the $10. He says, Jeff, you're doing a great job running the show. Good transition.
Yeah,
handled Izzo interview well. Thank you so much, Paul. Seriously, it means a ton. I want to go to the next player here, Cam Johnson, and that's been, I guess, the most relevant. Cam to the Pistons. I haven't seen Kyle Kuzma to the Pistons too often. Cam's been the one that's been at least reported the most because of Monty Williams, obviously. But he is a restricted free agent. So if you're going to get him away from Brooklyn, you're going to have to overpay for him a little bit. At least get Brooklyn to say, nah, we're good. Because anything you offer him, if you offer him 12 or 7, he's going to get matched if he accepts it.
Duh.
Cam Johnson, and I'll say at $25 to $30 million. Would you take Cam Johnson?
I would take Cam Johnson because Cam Johnson, unlike Kyle Kuzma, actually shoots the ball effectively, and I think he is a better and more willing off-ball player. Last season, he averaged 16 per game on 47, 40, 84 shooting splits, which are actually elite in a lot of ways. And if you are a 6'8 wing who can defend multiple positions like Cam Johnson can and shoot and score 16 points per game on 40% from the three, you can play for the Pistons any day of the week because the Pistons desperately need that. I would take Cam Johnson.
What about you, JB? Cam Johnson at $25 to $30 million.
I could do 25. I can see 25.
So 25, yes. 30, no.
30 no. 20,
Okay.
25, yes. As you said, you're going to have to sit here and overpay for him just a little bit because Brooklyn is going to match that. But at the same time, I don't know. They might value a little bit more draft picks as well, too, if you can kind of swindle a deal out of them that way. So, but 25, yeah. I don't have a problem with 25, especially for Cam Johnson.
What about you, Matt? 25 to 30 million. You cool with Cam Johnson?
Bye.
Bye.
I think he's a perfect fit with the Pistons, and I think he's been underutilized as a player just in Phoenix and in Brooklyn. I think there's more to his game, but at the end of the day, he can shoot. He can shoot.
He can shoot that thing. Lucas, take it or leave it. Cam Johnson, $25 to $30 million.
I would be willing to pay the $30 million if we can't get Jeremy Grant, because just like Broder said, this dude can shoot the fuck out of the ball. And if there's going to be a guy, the Pistons need to add immediate talent now. Obviously, they don't need to develop anybody. And if there's a guy that is willing to be overpaid for that can truly develop into something useful, it would be Cam Johnson. So I would be paying for it.
So for me, and I'll say for Kyle Kuzma, I'm going to leave it. I didn't get to answer that one. I'm leaving that one. So we all agree there. Cam Johnson at $25 to $30 million. I actually don't mind. I don't mind Cam Johnson, especially at 30. You're more hesitant because, in my opinion, I think when the people think of Cam Johnson, they think there's still a lot of untapped potential there, which maybe he got better when he went to Brooklyn. So in a different system, not under the umbrella of all these superstars, he played better. But guys, Cam Johnson's not this guy, the hidden gem that's going to score 25 a game. I think he is what he is. He's probably a 16 to 18 point per game scorer. He can shoot well. But again, to get him to come to Detroit and to pull him away from Brooklyn, you're going to have to overpay. So as much as I like the fit, I'm comfortable with overpaying a little bit to get Cam Johnson because at least I know he could shoot and defend. He checks those things for me. So I'm cool with it at 25 to 30 million. But once we start going over that number, I'm out. So Cam Johnson at 25 to 30, I'll say take it. The next player I'm going to bring up, and I want to see what Pistons fans think of this. This is the interesting one. Jeremy Grant. Jeremy Grant at 30 million per year. Would you be interested in a reunion? Take it or leave it, Sam Flannel.
You know what? A lot of Pistons fans, I don't know if they actually watched what Jeremy Grant turned into in Portland. I would take this. Out of all of the people on this list, he would actually be the one that I would be the most excited about. Obviously, we know, and he showed this on the Pistons. He's a 6'8 wing, can defend multiple positions, pretty much 1 through 4, I would say. And some would even say 1 through 5. That would be a huge asset to this team. But what Jeremy Grant did last season, which he didn't do with the Pistons, to be fair, is he finally combined the efficiency of his Denver and OKC days with the volume scoring of his Pistons days. Last season was the second time in his career he averaged 20-plus points per game. He did it with the Pistons one other time. And last season was the first time in Jeremy Grant's entire career where he shot 40% from 3. You know what I said about Cam Johnson? If you're a 16-point per game guy and shoot 40% from 3, I'll take you on the Pistons anytime, any day. What if you are a 20-point per game scorer and shoot 40% from 3 while also being an eons better defender than Bojan Bogdanovic, who is another 20-point per game scorer who shoots 40% from 3? Yes, take Jeremy Grant. He is a different guy than Pistons fans remember.
What about you, JB? Take it or leave it. Jeremy Grant at $30 million. If you're Troy Weaver, are you pulling that trigger?
I actually might. Just saying that this is probably the one person that I would sit here and most definitely overspend on. As Flannel Sam has said, he seems to have grown a lot more since his time away from Detroit. So now if he can combine that and just be that playmaker that we all hope that he can be, then yeah, I'm willing to spend that extra 30 just to get him back here. And I don't think a reunion wouldn't be bad either. I think he sees the Pistons improving as well, trying to get better. You have added Monty Williams as well too, so now it's like, all right, now this team is moving, is going somewhere. He sees the positive, so I think a reunion would be perfect here.
No, I'm with you. I don't want to tease it, actually. I don't want to tease it. Matt Broder, what do you think? Take it or leave it. Jeremy Grant at $30 million.
No. And
JB, can we get a track too? Can we get a track that? Okay, let's get some music too. Continue, Broder. Let me interrupt you.
I just don't think Jeremy Grant's a winner. I don't think he's a winning type player. He's got skills, but I don't think it's time for him to be on the Pistons right now.
He's not a winning player, according to Broder. I love it. Different opinions. He doesn't want to pay Grant 30.
Yeah.
What about you, Lucas? Take it or leave it. Jeremy Grant, $30 million.
I know I just said I wanted Jeremy Grant as my number one free agent, but not for $30 million. I would much rather overpay for Cam just because strictly the age as well, because when you want to re-up on both of them, like Jeremy Grant potentially could not be playing his best ball. And I think just for what Asur brings, I feel like that would kind of mesh with how it... I mean, what do you think, actually? I want to ask, how do you think Jeremy Grant would affect Asur?
So I'll tell you this. Out of all the guys I read, I want Jeremy the most.
Let's go.
I want Jeremy the most, and I'll tell you why. He's the best defender on anybody I just named. I know he's 2 years older than Cam Johnson, but he shot 40% last year on like 5-6 attempts, so he's not some bum shooter. He can shoot the ball. And he has familiarity already with Pistons players. Troy loves him. And I think a reunion, if you're going to pay anybody $30 million, I'll pay the guy that can defend at the highest level out of all these free agents and the guy I can depend on to shoot the 3. I think next to Asar, not only do you have crazy length, I mean 6'9", over 7-foot wingspan. Again, what he can do, I saw him play small ball 5 in situations out in Portland. The way that you can use Jeremy Grant, I think Monty would absolutely love it, and I think he'd be a great fit next to Asar. So I'm all for paying Jeremy Grant $30 million.
Thank you.
That's my take.
Great minds think alike.
No doubt about it. We'll move on here. Grant Williams, and I just want to get this one out the way to hit people's opinions. Grant Williams, if you had to pay him $15 to $20 million for Grant Williams, Sam Flannel, I'll give you the floor.
I would leave it, but it's not as insane as people might think on the surface. The problem with Grant Williams is that out of all these guys on the list, you've seen 3 of them, you'll see another one after Grant Williams. His production has been, at least when it comes to scoring, about half of what those other guys has been, and in some cases less than half. Grant Williams had a career high in points per game last season with a whopping 8.1. But at the same time, if Grant Williams was on this team, I think he would help them. But if he's the prize from this class, if he's the only one that the Pistons can come up with, that is bad news. But to be fair, in the last 2 seasons, Grant Williams is a 40% three-point shooter, although on low volume, and he can defend, and he has a big body. But no, if this is your prize, bad news, leave it with Grant Williams.
And I want to mention, too, just to go through the polls real quick and to get some of the people's opinions on all these players. I know Kyle Kuzma was pretty easily decided. Hell no was 82%. Nobody wanted Kyle Kuzma. The people didn't want him. 17% said yes, so 17% of you, interesting. The next one, Cam Johnson at $25 to $30 million. 64% of the people said they would want Cam Johnson. 35% said hell no. So a little more split, but still, majority says yes to Cam. For the next player I read off here, and that would start with Jeremy Grant, 65% said yes. Jeremy Grant was 65% said no. Are you crazy? 34% said yes. So the difference you see there with Cam versus Jeremy, it's flipped. 65 wants Cam, 65 doesn't want Jeremy on the next poll. I thought that was interesting. And then the next poll we're going to put up here, Grant Williams at 15 to 20 million. 70% of you, 76% to be exact, say hell no. And that's got to be the highest so far. But JB, Grant Williams at 15 to 20 million. Just tell me why he sucks.
Doesn't suck.
But no, he does suck. He's terrible. And here's a counter. Grant Williams, will you take 8 just because of your 8.1 shots per game, points per game? So yeah, will you take 8? If you'll take 8, sure. Other than that, no. I'm not paying you 15, 20 million.
Might give Grant Williams 8. I think I would.
At 8, if you'll take 8, I'm down.
Now that's half of what I'm suggesting. So it's interesting. Grant Williams, 15 to 20 million dollars. Are you sure, Broder? He brings heart. He brings leadership. Are you paying $15 to $20 million for that?
That's exactly why I would sign him if the Pistons were closer to playoff contention. If they made the playoffs last year, he's a great piece to add. But 15 to 20 where we are now, I don't think so. Shout out A-Diz in the chat with the scoreless Williamson comp out of Grant Williams.
Yeah, and again, he can shoot. I mean, he hit like 40% on spot-up attempts from the corner, so he can shoot and defend. But 15 to 20 million, Lucas, what do you think for Grant Williams?
Do not sign Grant Williams for any amount of money.
Any amount of money.
I don't. You can find a junkyard dog for cheaper. Go get Pat Bev. I don't care.
Stop it.
Go get Pat Bev.
Stop it. Don't.
Grant. Yeah,
nope,
Flannel.
Nope.
Yeah, Flannel.
Oh my God.
I'd much rather have Patrick Beverly than Grant Williams.
Well, then you're insane.
No.
You are insane.
Oh,
Grant Williams can
he
shoot
comes
3.
out. He comes at a cheaper price, and he's just. Did you see Grant Williams get his ass slapped after the playoffs?
That's
it. After
he
I
did,
saw it, just ow.
They did
ow,
slap his ass.
Ow.
That is
Get
a
outta
big
here,
red
dude.
flag. I mean, Sam, your response to that?
Well,
he did get his ass smacked,
and that's all well and good. But Grant Williams is I'm now the Grant Williams defender. It's crazy how things work. He's been a 40% three-point shooter his last 2 seasons, and Pat Beverly has never shown an ability to do that. The whole Pat Beverly is a leader, is a junkyard dog thing is one of the most overblown things in the history of NBA basketball.
We don't accept Patrick Beverly slander over here. You understand?
Are you a Pat? You're a Pat Bev
I'm
fan.
a Pat Bev lover.
Was it his leadership why the Timberwolves were able to win in the play-in and they had that big celebration?
You act like he's the number one guy. He goes in there and he has number one guy mentality on the defensive side. He creates problems. He's a menace to the basketball.
He also can't shoot. He's a terrible three-point shooter.
He has gotten better though. You can't deny that. You cannot deny that.
You know, you can't deny either. SMA, the help that provides, if you guys check them out. Again, when we get back, I do want to talk more about the Lions here, switch to the Lions and take off for the rest of the show. But before we do that, I got to tell you about our friends at SMA. The sports marketing agency helps spread awareness about mental health and substance abuse. Their new podcast, This is the S Word, helps fight the stigma about seeking help. If you or someone you know is struggling, head to thesportsma.com for more information. We'll see you guys right after the break.
I love Woodward Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today. We are the network for Detroit by Detroiters. Welcome to the Woodward Sports Network.
It's the Morning Woodward Show here on the Woodward Sports Network. Jeff Iafrate, Sam Flannel, JB, Lucas Klotz, and we got Broder hanging with us per usual. Thank you guys for sticking around and enjoying the show. Again, if you haven't already, drop a like on the stream, show some love, and subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already. And don't forget, if you didn't watch live or can't watch live, it's all good. You can re-listen to the podcast on Spotify, Apple Music. If you're watching live on woodwardsports.com, check out our latest news, articles, and merchandise because you're going to love it. But before we get into later in the show the Louis Riddick comments about where he thinks the Lions are going to get to in the NFL this year, which you're going to want to stick around for that. George Kittle had some interesting comments about Sam Laporta. Iowa alumni, yes. George Kittle, and Iowa alumni now, Sam Laporta. Take a listen to this.
And Laporta is going to be fantastic. I mean, I think Laporta is the best tight end in the draft class. I think Lions got his complete steal. I like the other tight ends too. But like, I spent 2 weeks training with Sam Laporta, and like the way he moves.
He's got the dog.
Oh yeah, he's got the dog. He's kind of quirky. He's kind of goofy too. Like he's going to fit in well.
Do you know?
And you heard him there, and I get all the love, right? He's an Iowa alumni. He said things like this about T.J. Hockenson. I get he's going to support his guy, but it's different when George Kittle, arguably one of the best tight ends in the NFL right now, currently as it stands, the most complete tight end you could argue, is saying things like this about Sam Laporta, who the second tight end drafted after Dalton Kincaid, obviously. But I don't think George Kittle, this isn't all just ass-kissing. I think a lot of this is realistic. Like, you look at Sam Laporta and the skill set he possesses, and we'll get to Broder in a little bit because he got to see him up close. But when you hear a comment like this, Sam, is George Kittle far off? Can he be the best tight end in this class?
No, I mean, he absolutely can be the best tight end in this class. And when it comes to George Kittle making those comments, with what he said, the way he moves, the dog mentality, the fact that he's a little bit quirky, it sounds to me like George Kittle is saying that he sees a lot of himself in Sam Laporta. And if Sam Laporta ever hits his ceiling, I think he could be an approximation of what George Kittle is, because Sam Laporta is so lethal after the catch, both with his speed and with his ability to break tackles, as is George Kittle. And Sam Laporta could hope to be on the level of a blocker that George Kittle is, although that's quite a hill to climb, because George Kittle is also an elite blocker as a tight end. But if Sam Laporta can also add that skill set, that would add to this offensive line, which is already elite. So when George Kittle makes comments like this, I had to do a little bit of an exercise, because I would, because I am a numbers guy. The reality of the situation is Sam Laporta, I'm not saying he's going to become George Kittle, but he is a much better prospect than George Kittle was at the time. Sam Laporta, 2nd round pick, 34th overall. George Kittle, believe it or not, was a 5th round pick, 146th overall. And like you said earlier, Jeff Iafrate, both Laporta and Kittle are Iowa alums, which has turned into tight end U, and that is 100% fair. And both of them, when they were in their respective careers at Iowa, did the majority of their damage in their last 2 seasons. In their last 2 seasons at Iowa, Sam Laporta receptions, Sam Laporta 111, George Kittle 42. These are context-free, by the way, but this is George Kittle we're comparing him to, one of the best tight ends ever, I think, when it's all said and done. Yards, Sam Laporta 1,327, George Kittle 604. Touchdowns, Sam Laporta 4, George Kittle 10. Obviously, George Kittle has him beat in that regard, but Sam Laporta is a better prospect than George Kittle was, had a better Iowa career than George Kittle did. And before you want to mention context, just remember that Sam Laporta played in an offense that was quarterbacked by Spencer Petras. So very few people had more working against him than Sam Laporta, and he still put up numbers. And when you look at George Kittle's rookie season, I think this is something that Sam Laporta can maybe aspire to in his rookie season. And at that point, I would say Sam Laporta's rookie season was a success. In George Kittle's rookie season, this was Kyle Shanahan's first year as their head coach. He put up 43 receptions for 515 yards and 2 touchdowns. And he was but he was also the second leading receiver on that team, next behind Marquise Goodwin. I'm not sure if Sam Laporta will be able to put up those kind of numbers this year because I think he has more around him, especially the tight end room is pretty crowded, and you got Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jameson Williams coming back, all that, Jahmyr Gibbs being a receiving threat. But Sam Laporta, it wouldn't shock me at all if at some point during his career is at least an approximation of what George Kittle is. I'm not saying he's going to be George Kittle because George Kittle is a Hall of Fame tight end. He's transformational, and he obviously he outshot his expectations in a way that very few have in recent NFL history, given his draft position. But I think George Kittle sees a little bit of himself in Sam Laporta, and I'm not just going to take that as nothing. That's exciting.
No, it is. When you get the stamp of someone like George Kittle, besides George could have said, yeah, he'll be a really good tight end. He said he'll be the best tight end in the class.
Yeah.
That matters too. What I think of Sam, and it's funny because you date back to when we were doing the mock draft season, I had Sam Laporta to the Detroit Lions in the second round and the third round, and people were like, what? Disgusting. It's funny that now we look back and he was drafted literally in the second round, their first selection in the second round, and everybody loves it. But you have every right to love it. You look at Sam Laporta as a prospect, and you could go on because you look at top tight ends in the NFL right now. Kittle wasn't a first-round pick. Kelsey wasn't a first-round pick. You can go Dalton Schultz, Dawson Knox. You can go now Philadelphia's tight end. Who is that?
Dallas Goedert.
Excuse me. Yes, Dallas Goedert.
Dallas Goedert is a dog.
Not a first-round pick. So you see the theme here. Some of the better tight ends, T.J. Hockenson, first-round pick. But regardless, you look around, besides Kyle Pitts, T.J. Hockenson, these guys that thrive aren't always taken in the first round. And my point being is, if you're Dalton Kincaid, you're going to a situation like Buffalo where you got Stephon Diggs, Dawson Knox. I think he'll be fine. But Sam Laporta is going to have the best opportunity day one. No Jameson Williams. Targets are going to open up for Sam Laporta. And I'm telling you, with his receiving ability, his yak ability, the route running, the physicality he plays with, even though he's not as big as George Kittle, you look at him and Dalton Kincaid, both about 6'3". I think he's a more willing blocker than Dalton Kincaid. I think his mentality, and maybe that's what George Kittle talks about, maybe his tenacity in the run game, the way he approaches the game, I love about Sam Laporta. And I think there's going to be a lot of situations you can use Laporta out wide, you can use him in near the offensive line, you can put him in different schemes. And I think without James Williams, he's going to have a huge opportunity. So I'm going to agree with George Kittle. I think Sam Laporta will be the best tight end out of this class. I do. Because given the situation, given this isn't Brad Holmes drafted James Mitchell. This isn't Bob Quinn taking a tight end in the first round. There's something they like in Sam Laporta. And with Dan Campbell, a former tight end, also evaluating Sam Laporta, I think there's a lot of reasons to like him. So I agree with George Kittle. I think he'll be the best tight end.
And think about this, and I want to hear from Broder in a second, but he is going from offense hell, which is Iowa last year, arguably the worst Power 5 offensive scheme in all of college football. I think that is fair. Not offensive purgatory, offensive hell. We're talking about Sam Laporta. And he's going to, I don't want to say offensive heaven, but going from arguably the worst Power 5 offense in all of college football to a top 5 caliber offense in the NFL. And I think Ben Johnson, who will prove to be the best offensive coordinator in the NFL as the season progresses, that is going to be a huge leap. And I think that Ben Johnson will be able to cook up some plays in which Sam Laporta can get the ball in space and use that running ability. It wouldn't shock me at all if Sam Laporta thrives under this offense, although I don't expect him to put up huge numbers his rookie year, but moving forward, I think he could. Matt Broder, you have seen Sam Laporta out during the offseason workouts. How does he look to you?
And you just wrote an article not too long about him on WoodwardSports.com, which you guys can go check out.
I did, and we covered it. I wrote an article this weekend on these comments made by Kittle. And what I took from it, George Kittle didn't have to say that about Sam Laporta. But he hosts a camp with Greg Olsen and Travis Kelce every year called Tight End University, where he sees the 80 best tight ends in the nation. So him saying this, yeah, Laporta went to Iowa, but I think he truly feels this way. And I think you hit it on the nail. The situation that he comes to in Detroit, both from an offensive standpoint and from the coaching around him. It's a crowded room, but with Steve Hyden running the tight end room, Dan Campbell's the head coach. He used to play tight end. Even Tanner Engstrom was the tight ends coach last year. He's surrounded by a lot of people to help him develop. And I watched a good interview last night with the boys from Pride of Detroit. They interviewed a writer from Iowa who covered the Iowa football team, and they talked about Sam Laporta's development over his career there as a blocker. He came in as a really strong receiver and continued to get better there, but they talked about his willingness to block and his improvements over his time there, and he was gushing about the potential that he has in that area. He's going to come in as a pretty solid wide receiver from day one, but as he gets better, as he moves on from that TJ Hawkinson comp into more of a Kittle-type blocker, I think the sky's the limit for a guy like Laporta.
Didn't he play wide receiver before he went to Iowa? Was that the case? I'm pretty sure.
He might have in high school a little bit. I'm not as familiar, but they used him. They didn't use him a ton at wide receiver in Iowa, but they used him in a lot of different sets down there. And his ability to catch the ball was sort of his value on that offense,
Yes.
which, although their offense sucked, they were one of the few offenses in college football that still actually uses the tight end. So he did get game experience in that scenario.
I can't believe, and this is, I keep bringing this up, Lucas, and I want your reaction to this. I can't believe Sam Laporta almost had as many yards as Michael Mayer in that offense. I think that man deserves a bonus just for doing that.
And I think that speaks to why I get why people are like, oh, George Kittle could have just said it just because he's Iowa tight end. Like, yeah, he could have, because he said the same thing about TJ Hawkinson. But Sam Laporta is a completely different breed of player than TJ Hawkinson. This man is a pure receiver who has blocking ability, just like we talked about Jahmyr Gibbs. He's a running back that has receiving ability, and that's why where the NFL is going, Sam Laporta is going to be a perfect fit and will be a top 5 tight end one day, just because we talk about how dynamic George Kittle is. Sam Laporta, after the catch, is better than George Kittle, just with his fluid hips. Like, you can tell he's a fluid runner. He knows what to do with the ball in his hands, and there's not many tight ends, especially like Michael Mayer, who's more of a Jason Witten. And that's why when people say, oh my God, we're going to remember this Michael Mayer pick being behind Laporta, like, yeah, you're going to be remembered as a good thing that we took Laporta in front of him, because in 5-6 years, Michael Mayer is going to be struggling to run down the field even close to the level that Laporta is going to be doing it at.
And you look at the poll now I just put up in the WoodwardSports.com chat thread. Will Sam Laporta be the best tight end from the 2023 draft class? Yeah, mostly say yes, and I'm assuming so. It's mostly Lions fans. But again, which I expected that. But I think a lot of that is true. I think what people believe and they see in Sam Laporta, and it's not just who Sam Laporta is. Can I just admit a big part of it is who drafted him? Like, that's also, like, we can't just slide over that. That's a big part of it. Bob Quinn taking TJ Hawkinson, as talented as TJ was and is, and you look back to when TJ came out of college, you remember the big thing for TJ was he never dropped a pass.
Oh, yeah.
That was a big thing for TJ, and then, things happen. But regardless, he made some great plays, but I think Sam Laporta, with his yak ability, like his making guys miss, that's, to me, what separates him from TJ Hawkinson, Sam.
Sure.
His ability to make you miss. Because it is, you could say he's not as big as other tight ends, but I think to his advantage, he's a great size, 6'3".
He is a great size, and when it comes to Sam Laporta, we all agree, probably his biggest strength is running after the catch. He's faster than Amon-Ra St. Brown. At least that's what his 40 time indicates, although Amon-Ra St. Brown has what you like to call football speed, but still, that speaks a lot of volumes to me that Sam Laporta has good size for a tight end, but is faster, at least on paper, than Amon-Ra St. Brown. The thing that is making me cringe a little bit, though, and this is where I'm going to alienate myself again, but, I like to do that from time to time. TJ Hawkinson was not that bad. People act like when we compare Sam Laporta to TJ Hawkinson, like it's just, oh my God, he's going to be worlds and eons better than TJ Hawkinson. TJ Hawkinson made a Pro Bowl with the Lions, playing a full season with them. And he also was a Pro Bowler last year. Most of that damage was done with Minnesota, but his best game of the season was with the Lions, in which he helped that offense score 45. It wasn't his fault that they lost that game. So if Sam Laporta even puts up numbers that aren't quite what TJ Hawkinson did, it could still end up being a very, very fine pick as long as he fits into the offense and helps them win. I just don't want people to act like TJ Hawkinson was some bum-ass tight end or something like that.
I don't think anyone's saying he's a bum, but you can't deny, you look at value. I mean, for him being drafted as high as he was drafted,
that's very fair.
That's the problem, Sam. I like nothing. It's fine with TJ, but if you're getting paid that money, you're getting drafted in the top 10. like, yeah, you should make a Pro Bowl. Like Kyle Pitts, for example, we'll see when he gets a quarterback, but that's why drafting tight ends in the top 10 or in the first round in general typically doesn't work out.
We talk about not drafting running backs in the first round. You should never, ever, 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 I don't even care if you know it's going to be Travis Kelce, draft a tight end in the first round. Just because if you're drafting a player in the first round to be either on your defense or your offense, your number 1 or 2 best player eventually. And if your tight end is the number 1 or 2 best player on your team, that's probably not doing that good for you on the offensive side of the ball because tight end is not important in the NFL like it used to be anymore. It's just a wasted pick at that point.
Yeah, no doubt about it. We're going to go to break when we get back. I want to bring up this Louis Riddick prediction, and I won't tell you guys what it is, but he had a bold prediction for the Detroit Lions, and you're going to want to hear this. But before we do that, let me tell you about our friends over at Guardian Alarm. Because, guys, you talk about defense. Guardian Alarm has the most reliable defense. They got customized solutions from real experts, 24/7 professional monitoring, and technology backed by people. All you got to do is call 1-800-STAY-OUT today for more information.
Introducing the Planet Fitness Guide to getting that post-workout glow. Step 1. What's your why? More epic energy? Better sleep? Blow off steam? Step 2. Join Planet Fitness for just $10 a month and get moving in our clean and spacious clubs. Step 3. Bask in that post-workout glow. Join Planet Fitness today for just $10 a month.
Join today at any of the 50-plus Detroit area locations.
You have an opinion? Make sure it's seen and heard. Corner, jumper, tweet us, hop on the YouTube chat, slide in the DMS at Woodward Sports on all social media.
Thanks for sticking with us. It's the Morning Woodward Show here on Woodward Sports Network. It's Jeff Iafrate, your host, Sam Flannel alongside me, my partner in crime. And in the audio booth, we have JB back. Thank goodness this man is back. Broder held it down. I mean, Broder's the sixth man of the year, man. He consistently earns that award. And there's Matt Broder, good friend of the show. Also writes articles for WoodwardSports.com. Check it out. Detroit Lions related. Matt Broder's got your back. In the booth, Lucas Klotz, per usual. And guys, Louis Riddick, my guy, by the way. Louis Riddick, one of the smartest analysts, period, on TV.
The closest thing we have to football god.
Yeah.
He does not miss.
No,
he doesn't miss.
He does not miss. And again, he needs to be a GM. I think it's well overdue for Louis Riddick. But regardless, he had some interesting comments about the Detroit Lions. And this is per Pride of Detroit and Kelly Rowe, if that's how she pronounces her name. Just want to make sure I get that correct. Kelly Rowe from Pride of Detroit wrote an article talking about his quote on ESPN's Get Up. And Louis Riddick jumped on there and had some interesting words for the Detroit Lions. Okay, and this is what he said, and I want to get everybody in the room's reaction to this. He says, look, I believe Detroit is poised to make a huge leap this year and be a major, he's using words twice here, so he's putting emphasis on it, major player in the postseason. And one of the primary reasons is because I believe, we talk about it all the time, situations dictate player performances as much as they themselves. Jared Goff has found a situation for him now, and I think he's going to take another step this year. And you're going to see it manifest itself in them being in an NFC title game, he says. Think about that for a second. Louis Riddick, who, again, we just said the man doesn't miss. He might miss on this one, Sam Flynn. I mean, what do you think? The quote he used was, huge leap and be a major player in the postseason. NFC title game, Sam Flannel?
Well,
people are betting their money on them to make the Super Bowl. 8%, but
given the odds, I don't think that's a bad bet at all. And the funny thing about this whole Louis Riddick comments and everything, it almost sounds like, and it looks like from a previous excerpt from that speech, that one of the reasons why he believes in them most right now is because of the play of Jared Goff and how he fits in with the Ben Johnson system. And he gave a list of stats in which he was top 10 in total QBR. He was second in the NFL in fourth quarter QBR. He said, the quote is, he's top 10, top 11 red zone quarter QBR, third down QBR in the pocket, QBR outside the pocket. Those are the numbers that he gives when it comes to Jared Goff, and obviously I love numbers, and you can't deny it. Jared Goff was a major reasons and why the offense performed so well last year, especially orchestrating that Ben Johnson system. I think Ben Johnson obviously is that boy wonder, going to be the best offensive coordinator in the NFL this year, and it wouldn't shock me at all if Jared Goff has an even better season than he did last year. And if that's the case, the Lions' offense could be even better than it was last year, which was top 5 in scoring. I just thought it was interesting how high Louis Riddick is on Jared Goff. But when it comes to them making the NFC Championship, a lot of it depends on logistics, as we know. It's not all about stats. It's not all about what you do in the regular season. It's about how the playoffs shake out. Recently, the NFC and AFC, they added a playoff team. There are 7 teams from both conferences, and only 1 team gets a first-round bye. And here's why this is big. Because in previous seasons of yesteryear, if you are a 3 or 4 seed, which I think that's what we all realistically project the Detroit Lions to be the 3rd best team in the NFC after the Philadelphia Eagles and the San Francisco 49ers. If you are one of those lower seeded teams, like 3 or 4, you could still go the entire postseason and only play home games because the second seeded team could end up getting upset in the first round. That is a possibility that, although unlikely, was not available to teams before. And I've also said about this Detroit Lions team, they are the best bet to win their respective division out of any team in all of the NFC. It wouldn't shock me, it would surprise me, but it wouldn't shock me that much if the Cowboys overtook Philadelphia in the NFC East. Not saying it's going to happen, I'm just saying they have a rival. It wouldn't shock me, although it would surprise me if the Seattle Seahawks at least give the San Francisco 49ers a run for their money in the NFC West. It would shock me. It would actually make me pass out and probably cry if the Detroit Lions didn't win the NFC North, and then the NFC South, we can just put them aside because they're obviously irrelevant. So given all of that, and given the fact that Louis Riddick is very, very high on this offense, Ben Johnson, Jared Goff, the offensive line, and didn't even mention the defense, if the offense is somehow better, which Louis Riddick, it sounds like he's saying is possible, and the defense goes from being bottom 5 in scoring, with scoring points allowed last year, to at the very worst top 20, I don't think it's crazy. He just said the NFC Championship game. To me, that's not crazy at all.
And again, he's been consistent. I mean, he called the Lions Super Bowl contenders. So for Louis Riddick, he is consistent. Now, I got to be consistent as well, because when I hear this, yeah, it shocks me. Yeah, it puts doubt in my mind. And I guess it's the chair, because Neil sits here as well. But there is some hesitancy there, just saying the Lions will make the NFC title game, because, again, you do need some luck to go your way. Obviously, sure. Philly had a little of that luck when Brock Purdy couldn't even play. They didn't even have a quarterback. They just kept running the football. And, of course, I think Philly would have won, but you never know. So you need a little bit of luck to go your way. But this would mean the Lions would have to beat either Philly or San Francisco or Dallas or Seattle. They're going to have to face one of those 4 teams at some point. I think they'll win a playoff game, because if you win your division, Sam, and I've been consistent with this, and you host a playoff game and you're favored at home, you should win that playoff game. So when people say the Lions should win their division, I'm going to go a step further. They should win a playoff game this season. Now, if you win a playoff game, you're only a game away from the NFC title game. So I can't just say that's unrealistic. I mean, if you're a game away, anything could happen. So I get what Louis Riddick's saying, but a lot of things have to go right. And I get Louis Riddick has confidence in Jared Goff, but you need Jared Goff to repeat on what he did last year, or at least build on it, and maybe even have a better year without as many weapons at his disposal as he had last year early on. I get Khalif and Josh Reynolds were all there, but you don't have DJ Chark. Obviously, TJ was there the first 6 weeks, but again, even with TJ, Jared looked actually worse with TJ. So if he could continue what he did the second half of the season, which is a damn near perfect 15 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, 8-2, the defense looked the way they did, then of course anything could happen. But there's a lot of things that have to go Lions' way, and a big part of that with any team is health. Health is super important, because as much as they rebuilt the secondary, if they lose someone like a Aiden Hutchinson, that's cause for concern. So a lot of things have to go the Lions' way, of course. But I don't think Louis Riddick saying this, JB, I don't think he's far off. What do you think? NFC title game, is that crazy?
No, I don't think he's far off. And I've been on this train way before, back when there was rumors of Ben Johnson trying to leave. I've stayed on this train, and I'm still going to be on it as well, too. And by the way, I'm probably all of that 8% who bet on the Lions to make it to the Super Bowl. That's probably all me right now. But still, I'm still on that train. I'm on this why not us train. Like, for so long, we have just been rolled over and talked bad about in media. And now you're finally starting to see that turn and that change. As you can see, they've gone in there. They've revamped the secondary. They've gotten rid of players that, don't fit the culture mold as they put together. And right now, they're building something that can go the distance. And I really think that it is the Detroit Lions' time. And Louis Riddick is right on the nose with this one.
And Broder, if you're going to bring up the Lions making an NFC title game and your first point is Jared Goff, he's done it before. But obviously the roster around him was a big reason for that. Todd Gurley was damn near an MVP that season. But what are your thoughts on it? Louis Riddick's prediction, and should Jared Goff be the number one thing you bring up when you make a prediction like that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
If Louis Riddick is disturbed, then I'm down with the sickness. Jared Goff, I believe, could be a top 5 MVP candidate if all this stuff falls into place. And I don't think it's wrong to hold his team surrounding him against him. It's the quarterback's job to lead the team to victory, to get the ball in the hands of the playmakers. That's Jared Goff's strength. He doesn't have the best deep throw. He doesn't have the best arm or throw the best spiral, but he's efficient, and he's got precision accuracy in those mid routes, in the short routes, getting the ball where Amon-Ra, where Gibbs is going to get it, getting the ball where his receivers can catch it in space and do something with it after that. I totally agree that Jared Goff could be the one to lead the team to a Super Bowl.
What do you think about that, Lucas? Jared Goff leading the Lions to not only an NFC title game, but potentially a Super Bowl. Could you even fathom?
Oh, I could fathom.
Oh,
especially
gosh.
when Louis Riddick said
And you
it.
say
Because
Stafford is buzzed.
We're not getting on that train, okay?
All right.
Because if Stafford was on this team, I'd be saying the same exact fucking thing. Because this team is so organically and well built. You talk about from the offensive line and defensive line. They're solid and they have chemistry. The Lions' offensive line is probably top 4, top 3 in the league, however you want to rank it. And then when you think about it objectively, the teams around the NFC. I am not worried about Dak in the playoffs. I'm sorry if we play the Cowboys. I am much more confident in the Lions than I am the
That's
Cowboys.
fair.
When you talk about Philadelphia, they just lost both of their coordinators, and the Lions lost, I want to say, what was it, by 10 week 1 last year, and they improved on both sides of the ball. So I am still a little bit more confident as of right now in Detroit. The team that I truly am worried about is San Francisco. If we can avoid San Francisco in the first 2 games, I have no doubt that I see the Lions in the NFC Championship game. And it's not even from like a Lions man bias. It's just truly thinking about the teams around the NFC and what the Lions have and how they have built it.
Yeah, and again, what Louis Riddick said, I don't think it's crazy. I think in a weak NFC, the Lions being one of the better teams, I would say a top 4 team in the NFC, I think that's realistic. If you're a top 4 team in your conference, you're a contender. And Louis Riddick called them Super Bowl contenders. I won't put my nuts on the table and say that, but I think they're going to be a big player in the playoffs. I think they'll win a playoff game. So clearly I feel that way. But to say they're better unquestioned or they will beat San Francisco or Philly, that's where I have a little I'm a little hesitant, Sam Flannel. I can't go that far, but I will say they're going to be a dangerous team. If they can stay healthy, especially how they played to end the season, if they can keep that up or look similar to what they looked like, they're going to be dangerous, Sam.
And you know who we just took from Philly too, right? Arguably their best defensive player from last year. So when we played Jalen Hurts and those wide receivers,
that is true.
We got C.J. Gardner-Johnson, and they also lost T.J. Edwards in their linebacker. So in the Lions' offensive line, their strength, you got David Montgomery. You're talking about a team that can truly wear down a lot of teams with good offenses. The Lions are built to contend with that, and they have all the tools to do it.
No, it's amazing. I mean, we have C.J. Gardner-Johnson, but you know what else we do have as well? We have Big Boy, which other teams don't have Big Boy. And Big Boy also has Strawberry Fest, which is officially back at Big Boy. And you could try classic breakfast items like some strawberry hotcakes or mouth-watering red velvet red waffles. But if you're not feeling breakfast, try the strawberry bacon chicken wrap or cool off with the refreshing summer splash salad. And if you want to, you can grab dessert as well. They got their berry delicious classic strawberry pie or deep fried vanilla Oreos. Ooh, that sounds good too. Check it out, Big Boy. Tell them if your friends at Woodward Sports sent you.
By now you know me, Christina Gennari, as the obvious choice in real estate. And you know my website, soldchristina.com, as your #1 resource for buying or selling your home. Myself, along with my amazing staff, pride ourselves on making your home buying and selling experience a relaxing and easy one. Come see why we are the obvious choice. Christina Gennari at soldchristina.com, the obvious choice in real estate.
You have an opinion? Make sure it's seen and heard. Corner, jumper, tweet us, hop on the YouTube chat, slide in the DMS at Woodward Sports on all social media.
We're back here, the Morning Woodward Show, Woodward Sports Network. Jeff Iafrate, Sam Flannel, JB, Matt Broder, Lucas Klotz. Thanks for sticking with us. Don't forget, if you're watching live on our YouTube channel, we thank you. But number 2, leave a like, subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you're on woodwardsports.com, which you should be watching on, check out our merchandise, articles, and so much more. And if you can't catch the show live, you can always re-listen via any podcast app you listen to, Apple, Spotify. Leave a 5-star review. But Dan Orlovsky is leaving a 5-star review for the Detroit Lions.
Ooh,
you know
everybody's invested.
You know what he ranks. We just came off Louis Riddick and what he thinks will do. The Lions will do in the playoffs. Darren Orlovsky didn't go that far, but he did release his NFC North rankings, and I want to get your guys' reaction to where the teams are ranked. Because the Lions, spoiler alert, he has them winning the NFC North. So we don't have to break that down. We kind of already know what to expect. But what about the other teams? Darren Orlovsky has the Lions at number 1. At number 2, who do you think he has?
I am going to guess the Green Bay Packers.
Okay.
That's just my guess.
JB, what do you think? Who do you think Dan Orlovsky has number 2 in the NFC North?
It's got to be the Packers. It
Packers?
has to be.
Bears?
Okay, we got 2 Packers, Bears. What do you think, Lucas?
I'm going Bears, too.
Bears. 2
I'm going
Bears, 2 Packers. Dan Orlovsky has the Green Bay Packers at number 2. Okay,
Izzo.
number 3, who do you think he has?
Bears.
Now the Bears.
Vikings.
I'm going to go Vikings, too. I think he's down on the Bears if he's not putting them at 2.
Thanks, Don.
So, you guys are wrong again. He has the Vikings. Matt Broder's correct. What? So he has the Lions at number 1. Number 2, he has the Packers. Didn't have the records, just where they'll rank. The Vikings at 3 and the Bears at 4. He thinks the Bears will be the worst team in the NFC North. Your reaction to that, Sam Flannel? Is he too low on the Bears?
I think he's a little bit too low on the Bears, and maybe I'm more high on Justin Fields than your average person. I think he's going to have a good season. He showed that he could throw the football at Ohio State. He was never this run-first quarterback until he got to the NFL and had no offensive line and no weapons. But you know what he does have more of this year? More weapons. DJ Moore, trading for him. I think that was a huge pickup. Obviously, another year of Darnell Mooney, who has had a 1,000-yard season recently. Chase Claypool, what we've been hearing about him and what you saw during his time with the Bears, there's a little bit of cause for pause, but I also think Cole Kmet is a good tight end. But the reality about the Chicago Bears is that the reason that they were so bad last year, I mean, they were going to be bad no matter what, but the reason why they were 3-14 wasn't because of Justin Fields, wasn't because of the offense. It was because that defense went from being mid when Roquan Smith and Robert Quinn were there to a historically bad defense when they left. I remember a game in which the Bears put up 32 and lost. I remember a game in which they put up 29 and lost. I think they had multiple games where they scored 30 points and lost because that defense couldn't stop a nosebleed. But they added Tremaine Edmonds, they added TJ Edwards, they drafted some interior defensive linemen. They brought in DeMarcus Walker from Tennessee. I think they have good safeties. Eddie Jackson and Jaquan Brisker, a couple up-and-coming corners who are unproven.
But that defensive line, though.
I know, that defensive line is a little bit, is sus, I would just say. It's arguably one of the worst in the NFL, and that is going to be the big question. Can they put pressure on anybody? I don't know about that. And that is the big question. But they also added Nate Davis and drafted Darnell Wright on the offensive line. So I think the Chicago Bears will be a 7 or 8 win team. I really do.
And I want to get to the people now because I see people chiming in as well. We'll see. Chuck says the Bears have proved nothing yet. Don't understand the love. Lucian, sorry if I mispronounced your name, by the way. Bears will be the worst team in the North. Mike G says Dan Orlovsky is awesome. Love that dude. High energy, funny, knows his craft, which is super true. Dan is super intelligent. This take here I disagree with because I think the Bears will be better than the Vikings, and I can't believe I'm saying that because, number one, you guys know if you've been tuning into the show, I've been showing the Vikings some love this offseason. This is before all the crap happened with, cutting Dalvin Cook, essentially letting everybody go, losing 8 starters, 7-8 starters. I understand all of that. But the Bears spent a lot of money this offseason. Justin Fields, I believe in to some extent, and I think the weapons around him, now that he goes one more year in the NFL, eventually he's going to have to take off with the weapons he has at his disposal. I mean, DJ Moore, Darnell Mooney, Cole Kmet, Chase Claypool, as bad as he is, he's like the 3rd, 4th option. He should be able to do something. And their offensive line's a little better. I like the Bears more than people are giving them credit. I do. I don't know if they're not going to win more than 8 games, but still, if you win 7, that should put you number 2. I think the team that will be last in the NFC North will be a 5-6 win team.
And I'll tell you what, and Lucas, I know this is going to make you mad, but I don't care. I'm just curious of your reaction. Khalil Herbert will have a better season this upcoming year with the Bears than David Montgomery ever had with the Bears. That's going to happen.
From what standpoint are we saying this, Flannel? Where is this coming from? Are you saying from a yards, a stat standpoint?
Yes.
Okay, maybe he might have better stats, but it doesn't amount to the impact that he's having. Because Khalil Herbert, he's going to be, again, the third down back. They bought in Deontay Foreman to be the new David Montgomery, and he's not as good as David Montgomery, so they're going to have to rely on Khalil Herbert more. So because of the situation, yeah. But then we're going to see David Montgomery in Detroit have a better season than he ever had in Chicago.
I
so
agree with that, by the
that
way.
Right back up the ass with that. But
damn,
I'm not here to talk about how much improved the Bears' offense is. I'm here to talk about how fucking bad the Vikings' defense is this year. It is going to. We talked about how we saw this drop off with Chicago without Roquan Smith. The Vikings' defense is going to be so bad this year, they're not going to be able to stop a nosebleed. And for that reason, I'm putting the Bears ahead of them, who actually improved their defense. We always talk about Marcus Davenport, 1.5 sack. If Danielle Hunter sits out, what are they going to do?
Oh, they're screwed.
They are not going to have anything. Patrick Peterson, gone. Lewis Seen, their rookie safety who fucking blew up his knee last year, he's going to have to overcome that. It's dark days in Minnesota and they're brighter days in Chicago.
I'll tell you what, the Vikings, they're becoming, you know how if you guys watch the Woodward heavyweights, anytime you bring up the Chicago Bears, Easy just goes into like a spastic rant about how much he hates the Chicago Bears. And I don't necessarily blame him. I feel that way right now about the Minnesota Vikings and anybody who expects them to be good. I'm not going to lie, I could be wrong. I've been wrong before. But people just completely disregard all that they lost and how little they did to replace them. Is Alexander Madison going to replace Dalvin Cook's production? Nothing in his past shows that he will. Is Jordan Addison going to replace Adam Thielen's production? That one I say yes, but that is the only one. Is Brian Asamoah going to replace Eric Kendrick's production? I don't think so.
Who?
Brian Asamoah.
Linebacker.
I reiterate, who?
Is Marcus Davenport and his not 1.5 sacks last season, half sack last season, going to replace Zadarius Smith? No. Is Dean Lowry going to replace Dalvin Tomlinson? Maybe. I wouldn't bet my mortgage on it. Is Andrew Booth Jr., who is a promising rookie but also missed a lot of his rookie season, going to replace Patrick Peterson? All of those, some of them may turn out. I may be wrong, but there's nothing that is proven about the Minnesota Vikings that shows that they are going to be good next year, especially defensively. All you can really point to are Kirk Cousins, Justin Jefferson, Christian Darrisaw, and TJ Hawkinson. That's about it.
Don't even point to Kirk Cousins either. That's like the nucleus of all the Minnesota Vikings problems is Kirk Cousins. You need to move off of. They should have never re-signed Kirk Cousins. They should have moved off him when they could. They should have trusted Kellen Mond more than they should have Kirk Cousins.
Hold on, Sam Flannel. No, I want to revisit a take you just said. Did you say Khalil Herbert will have more production than David Montgomery?
Absolutely. For the Bears.
All right, so
hold on.
Go, you got it, Jeff.
For the Bears, yeah.
You think Khalil Herbert will be more productive than David Montgomery for the Bears this season? Which one is it?
I think that Khalil Herbert will have a better season this year for the Bears than any season that David Montgomery had for the Bears. But I also believe that David Montgomery could have his best season ever this year for the Lions.
Okay, so this is just with the Bears.
Just with the Bears.
So David Montgomery over his career with the Bears had about 900 yards roughly a season. You think he'll have that? If not 1,000, Khalil Herbert?
I think Khalil Herbert could have 1,200. And I say that with, I'm dead serious.
How? Like how? What is the formula to Khalil Herbert getting 1,200 yards? So I'm not. Yeah, he's not going to get 1,200 yards, but I want to hear what you have to say.
Isn't he like 5'8", 5'7"? But continue. Why do you believe that? Why is Khalil Herbert going to be the best running back in the? Is this your DeAndre Swift leading the NFC in rushing? Is this similar mold of take?
You know what's funny though? Khalil Herbert has actually proven more in the NFL than DeAndre Swift did in his first 2 seasons. That is also factual because what did Khalil Herbert have last season? I believe 757 rushing yards on 5.7 yards per carry. I mean, 757 doesn't sound so great, but he is going to get more usage this year because, as Lucas said, they brought in Deontay Foreman, who is not as good as David Montgomery. He's not going to be that every down bell.
And he has Fields as well. He does running the football.
He does have Fields. And last season, the Chicago Bears, I believe they were number 1 in rushing yards per game. And Khalil Herbert was a big reason for that. He actually, when he touches the ball and when he carries the ball, it's not just 3 yards in a cloud of dust. It's like 5 yards. He can.
In a cloud of dust.
He's faster. He is a better outside of the numbers runner than David Montgomery. I get it. David Montgomery was valuable for the Bears. But Khalil Herbert, he is going to be one of the breakout players in the NFC, especially with offensive line, which added Nate Davis, who is proven, and Darnell Wright, who is a promising prospect. But another thing, the Chicago Bears rushing when they were the offensive line when it comes to run blocking was better than people think. And I think Khalil Herbert will thrive. I really do.
Well, you know what? People out, and this is what I love about having an audience. All the people in the Morning Woodward Show chat, remember this. We're going to revisit this take in about 6 months because the DeAndre Swift leading the NFC in rushing, it didn't work out your way. But we're going to see if this Khalil Herbert take does. We're going to have to revisit this, no question about it. When we get back, I want to get to what's trending with Lucas. Lucas has some things prepared for us, and I can't wait to get to them. But before we do that, can you tell us about our friends over at Swiss Insurance?
Absolutely, I can, because Swiss Insurance is the best insurance that you could possibly have. And now that summer's here, it is important to make sure you are properly covered. Whether it's a grad party or just a group of people over to enjoy the lake or pool, your liability exposure increases significantly in summertime. Let the Swiss Insurance Group review your coverage and make sure you are protected from an unexpected loss. Check out SwissINS.com or call Mark today at 248-800-4177. Again, that is 248-800-4177, Swiss Insurance.
Big Boy Strawberry Fest has officially arrived, and we're here to show you the very best flavors of the season. Satisfy your sweet tooth with our deep-fried vanilla Oreos, strawberry hot fudge cake, and a slice of our classic strawberry pie. But that's not all. Cool off on a refreshing summer splash salad, or savor the flavors of our chicken Caesar wrap and strawberry bacon chicken wrap. And for breakfast lovers, don't miss out on our strawberry hotcakes or our mouth-watering red velvet waffle. Strawberry Fest is something for everyone. Celebrate the sweet season with us at Big Boy.
All of Detroit sports teams live on Woodward. All of Detroit sports coverage lives on Woodward Sports. Driving the best in Detroit sports coverage.
It's the Morning Woodward Show here on the Woodward Sports Network. Jeff Iafrate, Sam Flannel, JB, and Lucas Clark. Thank you to every single one of you for sticking with us, showing support. We appreciate it. If you guys are sticking to the end, we appreciate you even more. And don't forget, leave a like, subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you're watching on WoodwardSports.com, check out our wonderful articles, everything else, including our merchandise. The website is packed with things for you to look at. But it's time now for what's trending with Lucas Klotz. Lucas, what do you got for us?
Indeed. So, over the weekend, Aaron Rodgers is back in the news, and it's not anything football related, and I kind of want to get your guys' reaction on it. So, he went to a psychedelic conference over the weekend, and this is what he had to say.
All these bums who want to, come after me online about my experience and stuff, they've never tried it. They're the perfect people for it. We need to get these people taking it. And you know what? It's going to be hard to cancel me because, the previous year, 26 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. We had a good season. Ayahuasca, 48 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. MVP. What are you going to say?
Is this man, okay, did he just advocate or insinuate that taking ayahuasca made him a better football player? Should I take ayahuasca to make me a better host, Sam? I don't know.
I mean, a lot of people would probably say I should take ayahuasca to make me a better host.
But Sam, dude, oh my God. If Flannel took ayahuasca... Flannel, I mean, you don't have to...
What if he took ayahuasca and came on the show and said, you know what, guys? Ben Wallace is a Hall of Famer.
It'd probably be
I had, it hit me.
Maybe that should be like, Flannel, we got to put a wager up. We got to put a bet up. And, the cost to pay is you got to take, 8 of shrooms. Ooh. And, kind of like how Maz did at Dispo.
Oh, yeah.
And then you got to just sit there and watch Ben Wallace film. You just watch it. That's all you got to do. You just sit there and you lock in off of 8th on Ben Wallace videos. Do you think that would change your mind?
No. I I've never done ayahuasca, and obviously when you and I'm not gonna sound, you know what? People think I'm a robot. I'm not a robot. Actually, Lucas, you showed me some highlights from Game 5 of the 2004 NBA Finals, in which Ben Wallace did have 18 points and 22 rebounds in a closeout game. And
who was that on? Who was he playing against?
I mean, he
Shaq.
He outplayed Shaquille O'Neal that game. He didn't outplay him in games 1 and 4. I'll just leave it at that, or in game 2. But anywho, my point is that I am a Pistons fan, and I even got a little bit, oh yeah, that was cool. They won a title, and that was fun. So maybe ayahuasca can have me soften my feelings towards Ben Wallace, who I don't dislike, by the way, but I will never, ever, ever, under a million years, you could waterboard me. I will never say that Ben Wallace deserves to be in the Basketball Hall of Fame. Never, ever, ever.
Did you see that story Lindsay was talking about with D-Mac the other day?
Yes.
So if you see Ben Wallace sitting on your car, you clock out at Woodward, it's 10:30 at night, you're walking on the Ave, and Ben Wallace is sitting on your hood. You're not going to say, Ben, that was wrong, you are. You're just going to sit there and eat that punch?
I will take that punch. I will take the beating that he would give me, because Ben
you would
Wallace,
die.
Ben
You would
Wallace
die.
He would
For
kill
your
me.
life. You gotta plead out of that.
I don't think Sam wants that smoke. But Sam, you stick to your opinion. Even though we showed you the closeout game where Ben Wallace at 18-22 and outplayed Shaq.
Great game.
I don't think even psychedelics could help Sam Flannel. but Lucas, what do you got for us? What else you got?
I mean, we touched on it earlier with the with pretty much the
stuff.
Thompson twins and just all of that. But besides that, there wasn't really that much. So
what about the Cade photos? I mean, we kind of brought that up earlier, but we had that happen over the weekend, and that was kind of trending across all of sports. But you know what, Sam? I don't even want to talk about that. We already kind of covered it. I want to stay on this Aaron Rodgers stuff. Aaron Rodgers, and he frustrates the hell out of me, as talented as he is. He really does. Like, when he says things like this, you hear it, and you're like, you know what? He's right. He did play better after he took ayahuasca. But, dude, like, even though your experience was successful and you had a great experience, doesn't mean, like, imagine Jared Goff takes ayahuasca. You think Jared Goff's going to, Matt Broder, you think he's going to be top 5 in the MVP race? Maybe ayahuasca is what he needs. Maybe. It worked for Aaron Rodgers.
He doesn't even need it to be top 5 in the MVP
race. He's going to get the sauce. We're going to see Sauce out there, and he's going to be tripping sack at, like, halftime. Come out there microdosing.
Like, for Aaron to go on, and I get what he's doing. He's trying to be an advocate and show out. And, again, I get what Aaron Rodgers is trying to say. But, dude, don't act like ayahuasca is going to help. Is what quarterbacks are missing
and the
to
whole
be successful.
Thing that kills me is like the opening statement. It's all these bums. It's like, dude, no, it's people that are just logically thinking like, I'm at a pretty important time in my life right now. I probably shouldn't be taking a drug that's going to shake up my whole reality. And the fact that he's like, yeah, ayahuasca's what did it for me. It's like, dude, shut the I can't even get to him with it. But.
Am I the only person in Detroit sports media? And I think I'm about to fall on a sword again. I don't necessarily. Everybody just makes fun of the whole ayahuasca thing and everything. I don't care. I'm not saying that I would ever take it, but I'm not one of those people that's like, oh my God, Aaron Rodgers, how could you just take this experimental drug or whatever? It is what it is.
It's the way he acts after doing it.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say. Like, dude, you can take it. Like, I don't care. Like, I've been down my heydays of those areas. And it's just like, you can do it. You just don't got to say anything about it. Like, if it made an impact, like, that's fine. I guess, yeah, he's at a conference, but it's just like, the way you're going about it, where it's like all knowing, it's like that's exactly what people can't stand. People who take those drugs because they act like they know everything. It's just you're going right into why people don't like those drugs.
And the chat is chiming in here. Donovan Strong says, "When you're a multi-millionaire, you can afford to have a bad trip." Yeah, Donovan. No, he's preaching facts.
That is true, but then you can find a good way to lose it after that.
Yeah, that's also true. Chuck Brewer says, "Answer me this: how many Super Bowls did he make after he took the drug, Sam?"
0. But
That's your guy, Sam.
You know,
you got to defend him.
Remember this though, in that 2020 season, which turned into the 2021 NFC Championship game against Brady and the Buccaneers. Aaron Rodgers threw 3 touchdowns and 1 interceptions and led the offense to 26 points. Tom Brady, on the other hand, threw 3 terrible second-half interceptions, but his defense bailed him out, and he was the benefactor of an Aaron Jones fumble to start the second half, in which he was able to lead the Buccaneers on a resounding, 7-yard drive. Aaron Rodgers outplayed Tom Brady in that game.
Do not even get into like this Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady event. Tom Brady and Kirby Joseph were probably the reasons why Aaron Rodgers took ayahuasca in the first place. Tom Brady will forever be living in, or Aaron Rodgers will forever be living in Tom Brady's shadow. I think if Aaron Rodgers even wins another ring in Flannel, I want to get your take. I'm still putting him behind guys like Peyton and stuff like that.
I would put him, if Aaron Rodgers wins another Super Bowl, you could argue that he's 3 or 4 all time.
And I'm gonna hear you out.
Maybe
you got
wait,
2 rings.
not okay. At best 4, because I think the top 3 right now I think is pretty cemented. Whatever order you want: Tom Brady, Joe Montana, Patrick Mahomes. Yes, I said Patrick Mahomes already, and he's only gonna climb from here. But after that, you look at guys like here's the thing. I'm a big Peyton Manning fan. He was my favorite quarterback in the day. But the problem with Peyton Manning is his postseason narrative is actually correct, that he has come up short in way more playoff games than you would ever expect. It's actually unbelievable for a quarterback of his caliber. But Aaron Rodgers has been more unlucky. I mean, he's had some no-shows, but he does have...
Unlucky.
Do I have to say it again?
The 49ers special teams unit put up more points than him that game.
And that's fair. And that is 100% fair. That was all on Aaron Rodgers. That was 100% on Aaron Rodgers.
You can't lose a home. You can't lose a home playoff game, man.
Do I need to say it again from the rooftops? Aaron Rodgers has a higher playoff touchdown to interception ratio than Tom Brady.
That doesn't matter if you're not winning.
Hold on.
Guys,
I want to go to break. When we get back, I want to continue this because people in the chat are chiming in. I want to read some of these comments and get Sam's thoughts.
Just 411. Terry. Okay, we'll get to it. Terry Bradshaw, get the fuck out of here, D411. He was a game manager in his first couple of Super Bowls.
W in the chat. You got him fired up. Look at him.
Terry Bradshaw.
The double middle fingers. Sam, you guys pissed Sam off. The other part I want to ask about this is, too, for Aaron Rodgers to say this, did you ask your dad? Did you ask Kirby Joseph to say things like this on air?
His dad.
Did he approve of this?
Can we pump the brakes on the whole Kirby Joseph?
Did you ask for permission, Aaron Rodgers?
No, we're not pumping the brakes on Kirby Joseph.
Brakes.
He's about to become the best safety in Lions history, and he sent Aaron Rodgers out of the division his rookie season. We're not pumping the brakes on anything Kirby Joseph related.
That might all be true.
Okay, you know what? But before we get to mailbag, and I want to read some of these comments.
You mean retreat from the conference?
We got to go to break, man. Get to mailbag. Sam, can you tell us about our friends at Planet Fitness?
Marty getting a workout in this damn studio here, and people say about Terry Bradshaw being a top 4 quarterback. But anyway, where you guys should go to work out and where I need to go and get off all this aggression that I deal with every day is Planet Fitness. And if you are a teenager in the United States or Canada between the ages of 14 through 19, Planet Fitness is doing this amazing thing where you can work out for free all summer long, all the way until August 31st. So you still have a good 2 months to register and be able to work out that day. And you can do it for almost 2 months. That would be great for all high schoolers to get into that. And for everyone else, you can get a membership starting at only $10 a month, or you can upgrade to the Black Card for $24.99 per month and get all of the amenities and be able to work out at any Planet Fitness all across the United States. Join today in club or online, or visit planetfitness.com. It's Planet Fitness, where your fitness is essential.
Since the dawn of moving people, Chevrolet has led the way. The world of transportation is changing. At Feldman Chevrolet, we are leading the charge forward. With every electric vehicle, every mile traveled, one Feldman at a time. The company that puts more Chevys on Michigan roads is now the #1 name for Chevy electric vehicles.
We are the network for Detroit by Detroiters. Welcome to the Woodward Sports Network.
Thanks for sticking with us. It's the Morning Woodward Show here on Woodward Sports Network. We're closing into the end of the show. It's Jeff Iafrate, Sam Flannel, JB, Matt Broder, Alex Westfall, and Lucas Klotz chilling in the studio per usual. Thank you guys, every single one of you, for tuning in, taking the time out of your day, out of your morning on Monday to choose us and tune in. We appreciate you. Like the stream, subscribe to the channel. If you're on WoodwardSports.com, check out our articles, live sports, news, everything else, and including merchandise, and so much more. And if you can't watch the stream live, you can go back and listen via any podcast app you have, whether it's Apple, Spotify. Morning Woodward Show, leave a 5-star review. Let's get to some of these comments. We just left off here. Sam almost bursted a blood vessel talking about Aaron Rodgers. And Sam, you brought up how
you're not messing around right now.
I just want to bring this up. You brought up how you compared Brady and Aaron Rodgers in the postseason. But Jeff Olson has a question here for the regular season in his MVP year for Aaron Rodgers. He says, Brady threw for more yards and touchdowns in Rodgers' MVP year. Argue those stats, Sam.
I will argue those stats because Tom Brady also threw way more interceptions, I believe 12-5 or something like that, and the Packers had a better record. All this talk about how Aaron Rodgers stole an MVP from Tom Brady is complete and utter nonsense. Stop it. And I've even heard people say that, in 2020, Aaron Rodgers didn't deserve his MVP when he threw 48 touchdowns to 5 interceptions. That is almost a 10-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio. All of you guys, it's just Aaron Rodgers hate. That's all it is, and I understand it. We're the Lions. Aaron Rodgers has been our tormentor for many, many years. But you can't disrespect his greatness. He is probably the greatest regular season quarterback ever. And that is, I think that's factual.
What does that amount to?
That amounts to your one. And he's a Super Bowl MVP, though. You act like he's Dan Marino or Jim Kelly or something like that. He got it done at least once.
No, there's, I think, the all-time great quarterbacks, and then there's that tier that's right under him, and Aaron Rodgers starts it off. That's where Aaron Rodgers, even if he wins with the Jets, I think he's had so many chances in the NFC North where he's been able to dog walk because the Lions, Bears, and Vikings have never been anything when he's been in the division. And it's not just his fault. Let's keep that in mind. So it's just like, he's going to have a bunch of stats. When you truly think about stats, do not matter if they do not add up to wins. And Brady, he doesn't have those stats, but he still has great stats in even more rings than Aaron Rodgers can dream of.
And for the record, I'm not denying that. When I give you the numbers on Aaron Rodgers, the higher touchdown to interception playoff ratio than Brady, quarterback rating, completion percentage, all of that, I'm not saying that he's a better postseason performer than Tom Brady. What I'm saying is giving context to some of Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers postseason losses. I'm not saying he's better. I mean, I'm not crazy. I'm not an idiot. I'm just saying that people act like Aaron Rodgers is this playoff choker, when by the numbers, that is more apropos for a guy like Peyton Manning, and more recently, it's very apropos for Lamar Jackson, not Aaron Rodgers.
This question here, Lucian says, mailbag, what's more likely, Lions make a Super Bowl or Goff wins MVP? I'm gonna say the Lions make a Super Bowl because I don't think Goff's gonna have the numbers to win an MVP. But I think the Lions as a team could make a Super Bowl, but I ain't predicting that. But what's more likely, Goff wins MVP or the Lions make a Super Bowl? I just think there's too many players in MVP.
Yeah.
But the Lions are a top 4 team in the NFC.
I am going to go Lions make the Super Bowl as well because he doesn't have to compete against Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs for that because he's in the NFC. When it comes to MVP, Patrick Mahomes has that on lock for now. And even if it's not him, it's going to be someone like Joe Burrow or Justin Herbert or Trevor Lawrence or somebody like that or Jalen Hurts. He's not going to put up better numbers than those quarterbacks.
And I love this. Benjamin says, neither, man, y'all are delusional. No one's saying these are going to happen, Benjamin. It's a question.
These are open-ended
questions. I got asked, Goff wins MVP or Lions make the Super Bowl. The guys act like I'm coming out on a limb here to say the Lions. Relax, man. It's a question. It's all it is. Relax. Let's read some of these other questions. Let's see. Patty Grimes, mailbag Sam. Aaron Rodgers is the Ben Wallace of the NFL.
Now that's just trolling. You're literally a fucking idiot if you believe that. You're a fucking idiot if you're saying that seriously.
Pump the brakes here, Flannel.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to come out here and just jump you on this one, but let's seriously take a second and think.
Oh, dear Lord.
So, what Ben Wallace did on the defensive side, we can argue Aaron Rodgers is doing on the offensive side. Defensive player of the year multiple times. Aaron Rodgers, you can equate it to MVP just because it's a quarterback. It's going to be a lot easier to get if you put up that on the offensive side. But what does Ben Wallace have that Aaron Rodgers doesn't?
What does he have?
An extra ring.
No, he doesn't.
Oh, maybe I'm tweeting.
They have the same amount.
They have the same amount.
Do people forget that the Packers won one?
Flannel, you got me there.
Do people forget that the Packers won one?
Okay, so then that's even more.
Well,
that's right on. Ben Wallace and Aaron Rodgers have the same amount.
Was Ben Wallace the Finals MVP? No. Was Aaron Rodgers the Super Bowl MVP? Yes.
Yeah.
Regular season MVPs are worth way more than NBA Defensive Player of the Year.
Don't sleep on that Packers defense when they won the Super Bowl.
It was a very good defense, but he led the offense to 31 points and they gave up 25.
Okay.
I get it. Oh my Lord. All you Ben Wallace nut huggers in fucking Detroit just drive me crazy.
Did he just use the term nut huggers? Hey, can we get confirmation? Sam, dropping the nut huggers.
I actually said that about somebody here at one point, but it's a multiple time. I'm a multiple time offender.
Well, there you have it. Thank you guys for tuning into the show. We appreciate every single one of you for taking time out of your Monday morning to tune into us. Again, before you leave a like, subscribe to the YouTube channel. From Jeff Iafrate, Sam Flannel, JB, we got Matt Broder, Lucas Klotz, Alex Westfall, the whole crew. We all thank you very, very much. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Gabby, I believe, will be back tomorrow from vacation. But until then, we'll see you guys.